start. And that one goes start.
You have the Facebook?
Me?
What?
Are you on the Facebook?
I'm on the Facebook, and I'm on the... oh, wait, I'm not on the Facebook yet. I am now on the Facebook. And YouTube. Let me just check.
This is live, right?
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm watching you on the Facebook right now.
Live? I'm on Facebook right now? Love it. Oh, I think I can
Yeah,
hear myself.
man, both of us, we're all like doing on everything. I've shut us all down.
Oh yeah,
we're working.
You have all 4 screens up at once, right?
Yeah. It's just it's just like that.
Oh,
with
okay.
the 4 people.
Yeah.
Well, 3 people and 1 robot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw it when Chris and Manolis were on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Were they the last guests?
There was Badunka Funk was on after them, and then he was a guy that did everything.
Oh.
He played like a MIDI. And
Wait, is that Craig Watkins?
Yeah. Oh, do you know him from Hamilton?
Yeah, Craig was when I first started. He, I think, was just starting out doing comedy and stuff too.
Yeah.
But it's funny. I know that now because literally, like I think 2 days ago, I realized that his Instagram handle was Badunka Funk, and he's doing these crazy fucking loop pedal, like funk. I'm like, and he's wearing like 3-piece suits. I'm like, when did Craig Watkins get sexy? What the fuck is going on?
Yeah, and he totally committed to the bit and everything. Like he was like saying, am I performing this camera? And it was just like me and Kev and him performing to the camera, like dancing and like feeling his body and stuff. And then
$100 suit.
Yeah, like Kev's sitting like 2 feet from the guy who's like giving it shit. Like I mean, to his credit, I'm not knocking this dude whatsoever. Like I'm only saying it in appreciation for his performance. But you got him in a room with like 3 guys.
Yeah, he's really sexing it up.
Yeah, like.
Yeah.
It was a little, and then last week this guy Doug Swales, a comic from London, he came on. He's a truck driver and really Canadian. That show goes out tonight, and then yours goes out next week.
Is he in the convoy right now?
I don't think so. No, he's vaxxed and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. Local guy. Yeah, that's crazy. The convoy. I like the idea of a convoy because I watched that movie when I was a kid. You know that movie? Did you ever watch that?
No, but someone brought that up to me today.
Oh, it was
because
great.
I think Manolis is talking about it.
Oh, it was such a great movie. I mean, Manolis knows all the same shit that I know.
Yeah.
But it was a great movie. That's where you learned all the rubber ducky, and I got a smoky on my tail and all that shit.
Yeah.
And then, but Doug was telling us last week, this wasn't even on the air, but he was saying that before he got into stand-up, he would like just be funny on the CB.
Like a CB stand-up.
Yeah, and he says that he goes, he wasn't as funny as some of the guys on there. He said that it's super hilarious because you're essentially anonymous, right? You're just like out in the airwaves, and only other truckers can hear you.
Yeah.
So people say like the
craziest shit,
the most offside stuff, but it's hilarious. Hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you ever? We should get. Who cares?
What?
I was like, we
Sounded
should.
exciting.
No.
What?
It sounded like it was going to be exciting. What happened? What is it?
I don't think it was.
It wasn't. It was more stupid. It was like I had an idea and then it right away fizzled out. Like, oh, dumb.
Okay.
But anyways, you know what we should do, Pat?
What?
I should pretend that it was a good idea.
Okay.
And then I will have like a minute and like 12 seconds, however long that theme song, to think of something clever.
Okay.
And then when we come back, then I will tell you what I was thinking.
Okay.
All right. This is pressure because I'm bad at improv. But okay, we will do that right after this little thing, Kevin, that we call the theme song. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, everyone, to my old pool shed in my backyard in Pine Grove, Ontario. We are here. We call ourselves the Dutch Hall, and we're back for Season 9. Not really the beginning of the real Season 9, but this we cannot call ourselves Season 9 until we fulfill our promise to reunite the Nocturnal Emissions, but we'll get to more than that later in the show. First, we need to introduce our great cast that's here tonight. First of all, the man that helps us run the board when he decides to. I got to tell you, last week it was hard doing it by myself. I totally suck at it. But so it's good to have you back. Ladies and gentlemen, Kevin Fingers Van Dungeon, everyone. And flanking my side, he's here in effigy of my good buddy Dave. I built him in some sort of a haze in the pandemic. He sits there with his creepy eyes. Put your hands together for Robot Dave, everyone. Robot Dave.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Robot Dave has got some trouble in paradise.
No.
Apparently, as you know, Dave, he has a fetish for all sorts of mechanical equipment. Mm-hmm. And he has been dating the vacuum cleaner that sits beside him for some time now. Mm-hmm. And I think the two of them are kind of having some troubles.
Having a spat?
They're having a little bit of a spat. I think she's feeling a little neglected because he spends so much time doing his old barbershop trick. You know, the barbershop. Dave, you want to tell people your barbershop thing you like to do?
Honestly, what I do is I sit down in the barber chair.
Yeah,
put some lubricant in there. Pay the guy $26.
Oh, yeah, that's what you do. Well, you keep doing that, you're going to lose a great woman there.
No.
He's confident, though, right?
Yeah. He thinks he's going to keep just doing his thing. He's a real man.
Yeah.
Well, that's him, everyone. And now our guest. Yeah. Our guest tonight, I'm very happy to have him. He is... I like to think of him as kind of the Forrest Gump of comedy because every time I talk to him, he throws at me in a story that is just like something that would be one of the highlights of my life, and he kind of throws them out like he just has millions of them. And he's had quite a resume here. He is a great comedian. He's traveled the world opening for Tom Green. He's a co-host of the Friday at 420 podcast. He is the manager at Levity Comedy Club and Lounge in Hamilton, Ontario. And he is my friend. I'd like to think you're my friend. Patrick Coppolino, everyone. Patrick Coppolino. I almost forgot Dutch Hall Virgin as well.
Yes,
it's your very first Dutch Hall, so... Very good to have you in here. Yeah, it's kind of hard to believe with all these years, but we finally got you down here, so that's great.
Yeah, this is awesome.
And I am the host of this show, and two-time President's Club Award winner, Pete Van Dyk, everyone.
What club?
President's Club.
Okay.
The President's Club. That's a big deal. See, what I did was I won these two President's Club awards, right? And they're up there. They're those two glass, like they look like crystal up there. They have P's on them for President's Club.
What is the President's Club?
Oh my God!
It is the award I got for essentially putting work before my family.
Okay.
For 2 years, where they recognize you as being like one of the top lenders in Canada, and then they send you on a trip.
Okay.
And that's what I
Where'd
wanted.
you get to
go? First year I went to Nashville.
Nice.
And the second year I went to Atlanta.
Cool.
Yeah, Nashville I got to go to Tootsie's with all the wrestlers from WWE.
Yeah.
They were doing Raw across the road.
Cool.
And that was my highlight of that one. And the second one I got to see The Color Purple with Fantasia Barrino.
Oh, nice.
At the Fox Theater in Atlanta, so it was all black people, you know? Not like, this is going to sound racist no matter what I say because I'm white, right? Mm-hmm. But it was awesome because, like, the theater is, like, Atlanta's, like, got rich black culture, you know? Like, they have, like, black universities. They have like a industry and stuff like that. It's founded by black people like a long time ago. Like it's like established black society there that's like proud and stuff, you know. And so it's a good example in the U.S. because most of the time it's not that way, right? And so this theater's gorgeous, right? Real ornate and everything. And then there's all these women like in real colorful dresses and stuff, and then the one time Fantasia Barrino, you know, she's like the Whoopi Goldberg in Color Purple. She plays that role, and at the end of the movie, she says, or at the end of the play, she says, "I'm black and I'm beautiful" or something. I think that's what she says.
Okay.
Fuck, man, the theater went apeshit. It was like Def Jam, you know?
Yeah.
Like they're like standing on their chairs and crying and hooting and hollering. It was fucking great.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I love black people emotion, you know? Like they get to look like they have fun, which we can't as white people, right? Are you Catholic?
I like to say I'm my friend Scott McDonald always says he's a recovering Catholic.
Oh, yeah.
Catholic.
So I go by that because I was raised Catholic.
Yeah, me too.
That's not my thing anymore.
No, it's hard to get behind him anymore. It's like as soon as anyone, like if you go to defend your Catholicness, you're like right away lose.
You know? Feel shame too.
Yeah.
Why you're Catholic?
Yeah, I was raised Catholic too. So was Kevin. We went to Catholic school together.
Okay. So, and I went to Catholic school until high school, and then just actually like my sister ended up going to a different. She's a year older than me. She went to a different school because she didn't make a lot of friends in elementary school, but the friends we grew up with in our neighborhood went to a public school, so she really wanted to go to school with them. So she went, and then my parents didn't want us in separate high schools. So I ended up just kind of by default going to a public school, but I wanted to anyways because I was just by grade 8 I was just so done with religion. So
yeah, ours was kind of opposite. We didn't have a Catholic school around here at the time, so my dad sent my sister to local public school, and then he thought it was awful there, so then he sent us to Catholic school, and it was far away, and it was not very fun, no.
But you were already Catholic before?
I was Catholic grade school around here, you know?
Yeah.
They have Catholic grade schools, but they didn't have a Catholic high school.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So they had to send me to Brantford for that. So, yeah, it was a long bus ride to go, you know, fucking get yelled at to tuck your shirt in and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know what I got out of it. Like 4 religion credits, I guess.
Yeah.
Which changed my life.
See, that was the thing. I didn't want my high school education to depend on whether or not I believed.
Yeah.
And all that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And my kids went to Catholic high school around here because now they have one around here.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel bad about it. It's a good school.
Yeah.
You know, but it was like they got a good education and stuff, but like I feel bad about all the Catholic stuff they had to go through because it's kind of kooky now. Once you get away from it, it seems kind of crazy, like all of it. And then every time my kids would like have a problem with it, like you know what they say about gays or you know what they say about this or that, I would be like, yeah, I don't agree with any of that shit either, you know? Like actually when I was going to get married, I had to go talk to a Catholic priest, right, for him to marry us. And I knew the guy. He was a pretty good guy, you know, like he was a normal guy, grew up around here and stuff. He was like my dad's age, but so he still is around here. And so I said to him, Al, like, you know, he asked me all the questions you got to ask a Catholic. Like, you got to say, this is one of the questions I ask you. Like, they go, are you willing to bring in babies into the church? And I'm like, okay, yeah.
What does he mean? Like, just bring
like you're gonna
make the church grow. Basically,
like,
they want to know.
Bring them to the church, or just bring a baby.
This is what they really want to. Yeah, I don't know if they really care whose baby it is.
For a minute.
Yeah, like you're gonna bring babies in here, right?
Yeah, you just bring babies in as long as you got babies in here. We get a good look at them young, and then a couple of years later,
whoopsie.
They're too old.
Yeah, yeah, they're washed up. So no, what was I saying?
You got to bring babies in.
They want to know that you are gonna fuck, and you're gonna pull. You're not gonna pull out like some sort of chump, and you're gonna like everything works. you don't have any secret vasectomy, nothing like that. You have to tell them that too. They go like,
really?
He asked me like a bunch of ways, and I'm like, I don't know what you're getting at. You know, I don't know what you're saying. Like, and then he goes, does your dick work? Is what he says, you know? And like he's like, there has to be no pretenses. You going into this marriage, you got to go in with your eyes open. And so if you can't have kids and you're not telling her, then that's a problem. So you have to, that's what they were saying or something.
Right.
No belly button loads, nothing on the back. Everything goes in.
Yeah, you got to keep it in there.
Yeah.
And then you got to hold their legs up and shake them or something.
That's in the pamphlet.
Wait, is this guy in that video you posted recently? Didn't you post your wedding clip
yeah,
from your
he
wedding
might
video?
be in there. Yeah, he might be in that. He's the guy that married us, Father Al.
How does it work? Do you hire a priest? You don't pay them, do you?
Yeah,
you do.
I don't remember now. It's been 24
I think
years.
If you're Catholic,
I think
and
I
part
did
of a
pay.
church, there should just be one provided for you when you get married, right?
Yeah, I think you tip. It's like a tip.
You tip them.
Yeah.
And
you invite them
booze.
for dinner, and they get a free open bar. Yeah. My priest stayed for drinking and stuff after. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he stayed. I drank with him at Dave's brother's wedding.
Mm-hmm.
At the reception. Whew, he pounded back whiskeys.
Did he like open up at all? Like did he slip at all? That like it's just a gig for him or something?
No.
No.
But he did like have an unnatural like he had an unnatural. He was asking dirty questions to seem normal, right? You know what I mean?
I guess like he's one of the guys or
Trying
something.
too hard.
He's so out of touch.
Yeah, but he's never. It's like a guy that's like
The guy in the 40-year-old virgin.
Yeah, you ever kiss tits? You know, stuff like that. You know, you're like, you never really did this before, did you?
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, you can just tell. I always think, not this guy in particular, but for most priests I meet, I get a kind of closeted gay vibe from him. From most priests.
From most of them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get mostly a closeted gay vibe, but I also get that from just people with any sort of intellect.
Yeah, Joe Botello.
No, that guy is totally not out in the closet. Yeah, he's got like a, he's the only person, he will tell you he's gay in a million different ways all day long. And then when you say, why don't you just say you're gay? I'm not gay. You're like, what the hell?
Yeah, he stands right in the middle of the closet, and he's like, hey, whoever wants to fuck first, I'm there.
Yeah. I mean, it's a mystery to me, because I'm like, why don't you just do it for the spots?
Like, say he's gay or do gay stuff for spots?
Well, I don't know. Like, just keep doing what you're doing, but just admit it, and then you get the spots, right? But as long as you're going to stay quiet about this thing, you're not going to get any of those spots. You're just kind of like, you're doing all the dirty stuff, but you're not getting any of the benefit.
He thinks he's mysterious.
Right now, you're just a white straight guy. You're not even interesting. You know, if you tell the truth that you're in love with men and you dream about like Libyan guys, you know, you're going to get to do a lot of like queer friendly things, right?
Yeah.
They don't even let me tell my jokes there. Like, gay people won't like my jokes because they're about dicks or like cause they're straight.
Who won't?
Like, I don't understand like gay people.
What do you mean?
Like, you know how they have like the gay shows, like the LGBTQ.
They won't book you?
Yeah, they don't book me.
Do you try to get booked on them?
Yeah.
Do you have to be gay to be on them though?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking.
Oh,
do you think? I thought you did.
I don't know. I've never been invited to one of those.
Yeah, like maybe I gotta like come out as a what do you call it? An ally.
An ally.
Yeah, that's a new thing. You know that?
Yeah.
An ally? That's what they call.
Well, it's weird to label it, but because isn't that just a person who doesn't?
Yeah, it's stupid,
who
but there's a
doesn't
label.
Hate them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
It should just be most people.
But I guess the default is that you hate them, right? I don't get it. Like, I argue with my kids all the time about this bullshit. Like, I don't understand it. I think they think there's a problem more than there is, or I don't, or it's just that just because I don't think that way, I don't.
Yeah, I think that's what that is. Because like I'm the same way. Because like I have family that has come out, and like I know like in certain circles or like, even in their immediate family, the way they've been treated has been pretty terrible, and I can see how especially if that close to you treats you that way, then maybe your perception of just like, you know, if my dad treats me like that, then why would my friend like me anymore? You know?
Oh,
like,
right,
right. Fucking with them.
Yeah, and if you're supposed to love you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
and
I
if
can
they're
see
the
why
only guy,
maybe it is amplified a little more. Maybe.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry.
But if they're the only guys that if the only people that tell you the truth is your dad or whatever, and then he's telling you, or like,
I see what you're saying. Yeah, you think what he's saying.
Yeah, like he's not going to put on a facade because he's afraid to hurt your feelings or something. Like he's like he'll like be honest with you. At least that's how my family was. They'd be saying mean things to you, but you know it's true, and they were trying to just, you know what I mean? Help you in some way, and you'd like hate him, and then you forgive him right away. You know, probably there's punches thrown. It's like that's more the way. It's not the way everyone grows up. My wife didn't grow up that way.
Yeah.
So like she doesn't get it. So I'm not allowed to act like that anymore. Yeah. It's a struggle. It's you are married?
Yeah.
Do you live with your wife?
Yeah.
But you didn't for a while.
Yeah, because we did that. So we were together for like 4 months, and then we were in Vegas. I was doing shows with Tom there, and then I was there for like 3 weeks or something. So she came down for like the last week, and then it wasn't planned things. We were just hanging out, and then we ended up just getting married at the Little White Chapel there.
Oh yeah, I got married there too.
Oh really?
Yeah. Second time. It was a second marriage.
Second time.
Yeah, that's I like. Yeah, did Elvis marry you?
No, we didn't do that. We just did like the cheapest, basic, regular minister.
It was a shakedown where we went, eh?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like I convinced him. Like it was kind of a good deal at first. They gave you like a limo, and they took you from your hotel to the chapel, and you can drink in the limo and stuff. And we had 4 couples, so you're splitting the cost. So it was pretty reasonable. And then you get down there, and then they take the girls away from you. They put them in the back, you know, and then they take the guys to the front of the church. And then the minister comes out, and she says, okay, guys, we need to know, are you guys going to do like a regular service or a Christian service, you know? And surprisingly, all 4 of us who were fucking wasted
said Christian.
All said Christian. We all became like super holy all of a sudden.
That's funny.
Yeah, and then the women are in the back. They got their flowers in their hands. They're all giddy and stuff. They're all excited. And then they say, okay, you're going to have to tip now. This is a time where you tip. So we're going to give you all an envelope, and then you got to put your tip money in the envelope. And once we get the tip money, we will then begin the service. And they go, and the minimum tip is $60. You know, they tell you that or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And everyone's looking at me like they're going to kill me because I booked it, right? So, and we look at our women at the back.
Oh wait, so all 4 couples, you all knew each other?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you like.
No, we all did this.
There's other couples there getting married.
No, it was our 40th birthday parties at the time. So
okay, so you just like remarried your already wives?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I was married for like, like a long time.
Okay.
Like 16 or 17 years already.
What?
And then I got married again there and then did that. Yeah. It was all right.
Yeah.
It was just to have a good time, but we ended up waiting a long time.
Yeah.
And then,
ours was that it was like really early in the morning, and there was no one else there. Like to the point, I'm almost positive because it was just the minister, us, and then I think he had to bring in like the receptionist as a witness. There was literally nobody else.
Oh wow, no, it was hopping when we went.
Yeah, no, we did like 10 in the morning or something.
Oh yeah,
yeah, sober.
And then you came back. You were married.
Yeah, but we had separate apartments.
And then,
for a while.
And then you were in your mind when you married then.
Yeah,
like you were like committed to her then.
Yeah. It was. Yeah, I don't know. There was like a lot going on, but there was also.
But it wasn't a joke wedding, like when you.
No, because again, it wasn't a planned thing either. It was, and we had only been together for a few months, so it was kind of like, well, we did it, but that like we weren't just gonna because we did that, just rush into like moving in together and stuff. Right. Get married first, and then figure out if you like each other.
Yeah. It's really
together, yeah.
And still worked out.
It was like 7 or 8 years ago now.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I love Lindsay too. She's great.
Yeah. Maybe that's the right order.
Yeah, you get married first. Well, actually, and before that, I had a kid with someone else when I was 22.
Yeah.
So that's it. You got to have a kid, and then meet someone else, marry them, then figure out if you like them, then move in. So just do everything backwards.
Unconventional doesn't mean it's not right.
No.
Yeah.
No, I know. I think about that all the time because I did everything in my life. I did everything right, like I was supposed to, like what they tell you you're supposed to, right? So I do it all right, and I hated it. It was all awful.
Yeah.
And then I do like what is wrong, like what's everyone thinks is stupid or like they think you're crazy or whatever, and then I feel great.
Yeah,
it feels like it feels right, you know. But like all the stuff they tell me is right feels awful when I do it.
Well, like me and my sister are like polar opposites. Like I said, she's like a year older than me, but she's done everything right. And right now she's at the like she just got married a couple years ago. She bought a house with her husband, and like I think they're trying to have kids now, right? So like they're doing everything in order.
Yeah.
But she was always like went to school, like always got good grades, didn't party, got a job right after school. Then she met this guy. They dated for a long time. They got married. Like so, she's just doing it. But like I feel bad for her though because like I'm younger than her, and I feel like I've lived 10 years more than she has because I've just done more.
Yeah, I think about that all the time. I just visited a person, and I love her dearly, but she's very traditional, like she's very conventional and like a normie. And then
normies.
And I just I want to like give her advice on how to expose the stuff that she thinks is right as being wrong.
Yeah,
but she's happy, right? And
yeah, it's like my sister too. Like she's totally fine with the way she's doing her life. So
yeah, that's they actually feel fulfilled by that stuff. That
like how broken we are.
Yeah.
How are they happy? Why?
I don't understand. Like when I was working at the bank, I would be the guy that was like, everyone hates this shit, right? Everyone hates this shit, right?
Yeah, some people fucking love it.
Yeah, people liked it.
Yeah, there's guys that wake up early in the morning. They can't wait to get to work.
Yeah. There's like women who like get into their cubicle and they feel a sense of pride because they have their little picture of their cat up there, and they have. Like they have their own space. This is mine, and I do a good. God, I want to kill myself. Like I was at a guy's retirement party. He's like 35 years with the company or whatever. I'm at his retirement party, and I said to a guy that's my coworker, I said, if there's one of these things for me, you better buy me as my retirement gift a fucking shotgun to put in my mouth. Because this is the fucking worst. This means I failed. If I'm still fucking here
when you retire,
when I'm supposed to retire, that means I failed. That I stayed. Like I didn't have the balls to leave this place.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was probably 5 years before I left. So and I could have been 10 years before I left. It was the whole time I was there. I hated it that much. You know?
Oh man, I think we're just wired different.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I look back, I'm 32 now. I spent most of my 20s like broke and like didn't have much, but just doing what I love doing, and I don't regret it at all. You know what I mean? Like I could have got a good job after school and just lived the life that my sister lived, and I'd probably own a house right now and whatever. But but I'm kind of glad I don't, because the trade-off would have been I wouldn't have done all these other things.
Exactly. Yeah. It's funny, because like for me, it's opposite. Like, I wish I would have started sooner. Like, I wish I would have given this up. But it's hard because, I don't need anything. Like, I would give none of my, I only live in a nice house because my wife likes to live in a nice house, right?
Did you just call it a nice house?
Yeah.
It's an amazing house.
Yeah, it's really nice.
The shed is nicer than my apartment.
This is what my goal was to live in, like family of four in a place like this. I could do that. That'd be nice. I don't have this is beyond my wildest expectations.
Right.
Actually, and then so when we moved in here, it fucked with my head because I'm like I never expected this. Then what do I do now? Like I'm going to keep doing this, just get more ridiculous shit,
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make me happy, like it. Yeah. It doesn't. And then I wasn't spending a lot of time with the kids, and you know, like, and my wife works a lot too. So like there's a whole bunch of things. You're like, what are you doing all this shit for? You know, like, what's it all about? You know? And then I thought, well, I ain't doing it to make money. Like, that's for sure. 'Cause it's
well, maybe
nice.
you're doing it the right way though, because it is probably kind of nice to, like, you know, you have a nice home, nice family, you've raised your kids, they're off to school now. And now you can just live your life however you want for the rest of it. You know what I mean? Whereas, like, maybe I went a little too wild early on, and now I've got to spend most of my adult life, you know, getting to those things so that I can relax later. You know?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if it's what's right, because like I think you're my goal was that, like, I would say, like, at least I got a little bit of financial security so that I can take risks now.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got most of my obligations taken care of when I was real young as far as family and stuff goes.
Yeah.
So now I'm still young enough to go do a bunch of cool stuff.
Yeah.
Which I still kind of feel like I am. But you know, my body is fucking falling apart. That's the bad part, you know. Gosh darn, didn't hold up as good as I thought it was gonna. That's the bad part. If I was young, like, my life when I was young was like just work my ass off. I didn't do anything but work.
You look like, I can't remember. I don't know how old. If I know how old you are, I think you're older than I think you are, though.
I'm 48.
Yeah, see, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
We look really close in age. I'm 32.
Yeah. Yeah, but like, I mean, but also.
And that's good for you. I mean, like, I look like shit.
You look young and old at the same time, though. That's the thing. It's like a mix. It's a mystery, you know.
Yeah.
It's like one of those Pageria boy, but not.
People have guessed like 35ish since I was like 22 years old.
Yeah, you'd be at the fair where they guess your wage or your age or your weight.
Just killing it.
Oh yeah, that
go from fair to fair.
Yeah, nobody would have a clue.
Yeah, that's
I'm like,
funny.
I'm 75.
Wait, let me take my hat off.
Yeah, exactly.
I think if you look at his resume too, you assume he's older.
Well, that was part of it too, right? Because I had a kid so young, and like when just stuff I was doing, so they're like, "Well, he's got to be."
But how do you have the opportunity to open for Tom Green?
That's what I was getting at. Yeah.
How?
Yeah, like, how do you even meet him?
So I remember I was in like a cafe or something with Gavin Stevens, in Hamilton, and he pointed out to me, he was like, "Hey Pat, look at Tom Green tweeted that he was looking for a comedian that can also shoot and edit videos to go on the road with him, to like open for him, but also like do some shit for his YouTube channel."
Oh yeah.
And Gavin knew I was, because we were like making videos and stuff too. So I was like, okay, fuck it. Like, I knew who Tom Green was. Like, I loved him when I was in high school. I loved the show and his movies and stuff.
Yeah.
So I was like, fuck, this is crazy. But like, I'm like, he's not going to answer me, but you know, whatever. It's Twitter. I never reached out to a celebrity before on Twitter, right? So I was like, I just replied and like, hey, I do that stuff, whatever. And then just thought nothing was going to happen. And I'm pretty sure like within the hour, he had tweeted back and was like, I think he had like followed me so that he could DM me or I could DM him or something. And then he asked for my phone number, and then he called me like that night. And until that point, I didn't know if it was him or not, or just someone running his social media.
Yeah.
But as soon as I heard his voice, I knew it was him. And then we chatted for a bit. He told me his idea that he wanted someone to like shoot stuff for his YouTube channel and do some comedy and this and that. And yeah, so then he was just like, okay, well, let's do like a test weekend in Vancouver in a few weeks. And we'll see what happens. So that was it. He like flew me out to Vancouver. We did a weekend of shows and filmed a bunch of stuff. And then I'm pretty sure I think it was that trip or the next one. But I was supposed to be gone for a weekend. I didn't come back for like 2.5 months because he ended up bringing me everywhere.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So you actually went like all over the world, right?
Yeah. Because then that 2 months turned into like 5 years of just touring and working with him, and we did like TV shows, and he brought me all over the place.
Like, you went to New Zealand?
Yeah, we did New Zealand Comedy Festival, which was fucking crazy, because that was like, we check into the hotel, and like that first day or two, like we were just seeing who else was in the hotel, and it was like the Wayans brothers, Wayne Brady, and we are saying our tour manager was the same. So this guy that was driving us around, it was me, Tom, and then this other comic who I didn't really know very well, but he had a following because we'd go to each other's shows and stuff, right? And this guy always had like these huge group of fans wanting pictures with him after and stuff like that. And he was such like a nice guy, and he seemed very smart, and he could talk. He told us that he could speak like 7 different languages so that he could do his comedy all over the world. And he had worked with huge names like Russell Peters. He did stuff with like Snoop Dogg and stuff like that. And so it was just like crazy. I had no idea who this guy was, and I guess most people in North America didn't at the time either. And then,
Can I guess?
Yeah, go ahead.
Trevor Noah?
Yeah.
Was it?
That's who it was.
Good guess.
So we spent like 3 weeks with Trevor Noah, just like.
And you don't, is that crazy?
Dude, nobody knew, like nobody, at least like in North America, like mainstream knew who he was. And then it was like 3 years later, he gets the Daily Show, and it's the biggest thing in the world.
That's crazy about this thing, about comedy.
Yeah.
Like you never really know, like what could happen to somebody.
Yeah. Well, I have another story like that with Pete Davidson.
Oh yeah.
I was at I met Ari Shaffir on the Monsters tour, like when Jason Rouse invited me on. That was like the first thing I got to do when I started doing stand-up. I was like a year in, and again, same thing. I got invited because I could do video stuff. So they wanted me to film the tour and stuff, and in exchange, I got to do like I got to open with 5 minutes or something, because at the time I barely had 5 minutes. But it was just a crazy experience. We did like the whole west coast of the United States, all the way up into Canada. And Ari Shaffir was one of the comics on the tour. So we became friends. And then every time I went to LA, he would let me crash at his place, and he would always have comics over. And one time there was like Big J. Okerson and a handful of other comics. And one of them was Pete Davidson, but he was like 16 or 17 years old. Uh-huh. I remember he was talking, he was all excited because he got booked on Jimmy Kimmel or something. Like this was like before SNL and all that stuff.
Jesus, man.
And then I didn't see him again until I think it was like the Justin Bieber roast. And I see him on the thing. I'm like, how do I know this guy? Like, he was just so familiar. And I'm like, holy shit, that's the kid from Ari's house.
Yeah, now he's dating Kim Kardashian.
Yeah, now he's dating Kim Kardashian.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So weird.
Isn't that weird, eh? And they're all and they're all very. Do you find this? Like, I've met a few famous people in my life,
mm-hmm.
and they're all very what do you call it? How do you say it? Unspectacular. Like, there's nothing remarkable about
normal
them.
people.
Yeah. They're just so normal. Like, it's painfully normal. Like, you almost want something more from them, but it's just like, I don't know why you would, but
yeah,
they're normal, like ridiculously average.
Yeah.
The hype is all in our heads, eh? The perception's a weird thing, right? Like, we would just, like, people just look at things, like, everyone. Even this show, this podcast, like, there are people who have this thing built up in their heads to be a really big deal.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't know what they think. Like, there's some people that think I have a team working for me, or that Kevin's actually an engineer.
Yeah.
You know, like,
what? I'm not?
Yeah.
No.
Oh,
that's so funny.
Take that off.
Well, that's like our Friday.
No, you are, Kevin.
Our Friday at 4:20 thing. It was just like a small show once a week on the comedy station that is now doesn't. We don't do it on there because Bell like canned the station or whatever. So we do it as like a little podcast now. Even when we go live on Facebook, we have like 6 people watching. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a big deal at all. But I guess I didn't realize that like we had grown like a fan base, I guess, just like afterwards, like people finding it on Spotify or Apple and stuff.
That's great.
So some people would start to show up to Levity, like just random people, and said, "Oh, we heard about it on Friday at 4:20," and we're like, "What?" That's crazy. And then this one guy, do you know Johnny Renton?
Yeah.
The guy that he works there now. Oh yeah, because he lives out here.
Yeah, he lives out here.
In Simcoe.
Used to work with my cousin.
He found us through that show, but he was like a huge fan, and like when he came down, he showed up at the club with his buddy, and he was just like starstruck of me and Manolis, and like couldn't believe we were talking to him and stuff, and like that's so weird to me to have someone act like that.
Yeah. It is really crazy. Like it happens rarely to me. Sometimes from the show, and sometimes after a comedy show, like because people have a warped sense of. Like I don't know if it's warped sense, but like they really respect comedy or whatever, you know. And then they put you on a pedestal. I was that too before I started doing it. Like I still am that way. Like for you, because you were a gatekeeper, because you run Levity, you know, and before that it was Yuck Yucks and stuff, and so to get like spots, you have to go through you, and you open for Tom Green, and you like had a bit of a resume, and I like being new, you know, like I just don't want to screw anything up with you. Right?
Yeah.
So I get nervous. Like I would get nervous and like be quiet, and then like stand up, like not know what to say.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know. I think I'd say something stupid, right? And then so that I would just not say anything to you.
Yeah.
But then as a result, you know, then I'm not developing a relationship.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're saying. Yeah.
Because you're like scared of everybody. But that's stupid that I would. But because you had that experience, I'm still that way with comedy. Anyone that's done it longer than me, you know, like I know my place, you know, because I'm like I have stuff to learn from them, and I want to. I know that even though I'm old, and I may have accomplished things in other parts of my life, in comedy, I'm a baby, you know, like I still have to pay my dues.
Yeah.
That's what everyone would tell me, and I'm like, okay, I do it. But I'm getting to the point now where I got some of them paid.
Yeah.
Some feel paid.
Yeah.
I have enough stories that were of horrible things I've done now where I'm like, I can call myself a comedian now at least, because I'm like, no one who wasn't a comedian would do that shit.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I think about it all the time. Like when you're like on the road with a bunch of comics and you're in the car, and like some of the conversations you have, you're like, you couldn't have these conversations with anybody else.
No. And the fact that they don't feel awful to you, that they actually bring you pleasure.
The more like off bounds and offensive it is, the funnier it is to all of us.
Oh,
and like
yeah,
it's not like we're bad people or whatever. It's just we get why crazy shit is funny, right?
Yeah. And like
but,
why
it makes one like a normie in there.
Yeah.
Like where the fuck am I? What is happening?
That's the worst part. Is like when you're like at a dinner and you forget that there's normies because you've been hanging around with too many like of us.
Yeah.
And then you're like at a dinner with your wife, and like you just participate as though you're with comics, and then it fucking dies at the table.
To me early on. I was like hanging out with comics forever when I was like just started doing comedy, and then I got in that like mode. So like I would be like at a family event and just like say really inappropriate things to like my aunt, and I'm like, what am I doing?
Oh, I know.
Like they give me a look. I'm like, oh right.
I just did it. My aunt was visiting my mom, and I was over there. I think it was my mom's birthday, and they started reminiscing about the past. They're old Hungarians, eh? And they were saying how they used to go down to the Hungarian hall. They did this dance. It was and they have some Hungarian word. It's like a trios lapos, you know, like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then they go, and she's explaining how the dance worked. You had to get 3 people, and it was a girl and 2 guys. And then she said it was called this trios lapos. I go, is that Hungarian for a train? And then as soon as I said it, I realized, like, you know, I shouldn't have made that joke to a woman in her 70s, you know?
Right.
But I couldn't, like, it just came out. It was a reflex at that point, you know,
exactly.
that paint a picture of my poor aunt having a train pulled on her in front of her daughter. But, you know, that sort of stuff. Yeah, my kids are not normies, but my wife is a normie. And
what makes your kids not normies? What do you mean?
Well, they're like our artistic kind of kids, you know.
Yeah.
Like one's a musician, one's going to art school. So
Okay.
like they're both kind of like not the traditional like.
Yeah, not gonna be the work in a cubicle.
Yeah,
cat.
yeah. You'd see him. My youngest daughter maybe could get away with that, like.
Yeah.
But my oldest daughter never. Like you could see how it doesn't work. Like it won't work, you know. And so I'm really hoping that she lives a tortured life. You know, but in a way, kind of like that is like the like you're like I'm happy for her because you're gonna live this like you're gonna accomplish all these great things. You're gonna create stuff. You're gonna like make
security.
But you're like your life's gonna be tough. You know, like it's gonna be tough. You know, and
are you talking about like the normie or the non?
No, like I'm talking like when you for both of them, if they enter a world of the arts, you know,
right.
like number one, like just to come up to create something new all the time, you're don't you find you're going to be a little bit tortured? Because especially if you want to be good, you're going to be self-critical, and it's going to come with a cost, you know.
Yeah.
Whereas if you just kind of like are just filling an order that the general public wants of you, you know, like you just like putting in your time or doing your job, and then you go, you know, you're not like torturing yourself. You're just like
easier ways for them to make money.
Yeah, it's an easy way to live and you can just like kind of like go for the ride, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're like a creator, you're always you know, you're always in this space of like torture to come up with this great stuff, you know, like you're
because we're more fulfilled by that than money. Like as long as I can pay my bills, and like now I have more money than I used to, but I remember feeling before just like, hey, if my bills are getting paid and I'm enjoying what I'm doing, and because like if I was making the same amount of money or less or even more, but just fucking clocking in, like I had jobs like that and I couldn't stand it. I would last like 3 weeks at like I don't know how many times. There was like one call center in particular where I would work for like a month and then I'd quit and then I'd be back like a month later because I need money again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I could not keep a job like that.
That's crazy that those jobs exist. Did you know that? Well, not just Patrick, but a lot of other comedians too. They get these jobs in call centers.
Yeah.
They would quit or even sometimes get fired.
I've been fired from this place too.
And then when they wanted to work again, they would apply again, get the job back at the place that fired them.
I kind of honestly, when he said I would go back, I'm like, they took you. That's
Dude, I don't know if they forgot they fired me too. Like I quit a few times. Actually, like one of the time that I went for Tom Green and I left for like 2 months.
Yeah.
I booked like the Monday off work, and I didn't come back for like 2.5 months. I swear to God, I showed up. I went in. They're like, welcome back. You're gonna work this week. I was like, yeah. They're like, okay. I was like, what the fuck?
I didn't say what Monday I was coming back.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the one thing. Like they seem to have embraced that there's such a shitty job.
Yeah,
that they
go through so many people. Like it's just like there was like the core people that I bet you are still there to this day.
Oh.
Just like the lifers there.
Oh.
But then there's just a revolving door of people just constantly. There was new people every day.
What was, out of curiosity, like what was training like for that?
Like
you have to go into detail.
We
but
did.
Was it
We
much?
did. No, it was like it was like a charity. We were cold calling people, and it was to raise money for charities. So it was mostly just tricking old people into giving us their credit card numbers. I was shocked that because there was people that were like killing it, doing like crazy sales. But even like the quota you had to meet was like still, I think it was like a few $100 a day you had to sell, which I would hit, and I'm amazed that people are doing that. They're answering the phone, complete strangers on the other line. And you end up, the phone call ends with you giving them your credit card, and you just donated $200 to something you didn't know existed 30 seconds ago.
This is how.
Isn't that insane?
Work. That's how the scams work too, though. Right? Like, that's obviously why they work.
I don't understand. Any of that stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of towns like this that we'd call like small towns like this that have like a Legion Hall or something.
Yeah, I would get calls like that all the time, like a fireman or policeman's. Circus or some fucking thing.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was like law enforcement things. It was always like either a magic show or like a circus or a mud run or
yeah. I would get those calls, and it'd always be like this: if this means me spending 1 cent of my money, then you're wasting your time, lady. You know. And then she just keeps going, and then I'll be like, you're just wasting your own time now, you know.
So was there a script for you, or did you just ad-lib?
Yeah, there's a script, but then they let you kind of I think legally you have to say certain things.
Oh, okay.
But then after that, if you can put your own spin on it or whatever.
I think it'd be great if you're just telling jokes.
Yeah, well, at one point I got a bunch of my comic friends jobs there, so it was getting. I think we all got fired. It was not good for business for them, but
no, that would be an awful move for anyone.
Yeah,
just try a joke. Try a joke, see if they laugh. This one's good.
Yeah. Well, you forget they listen to the calls too. They record them. So
yeah.
But it was it's an okay job if you want a mundane, easy clock in. There's not much consequence if you don't show up or do your job kind of thing. But yeah.
Yeah, I guess the service. It's kind of like that's it's almost like that should be the. It should just be like, if you need money, just show up at Walmart or show up at McDonald's or whatever. and just
stock some shelves.
Just say you're there to do stuff. And
Yeah.
Eventually, I think it's going to be like that because everyone's going to not have enough people. So whoever shows up can just work wherever they want.
I feel like I want to work for 8 hours today. Just walk down to Canadian Tire
and are you coming back tomorrow? I'm like, no.
I don't know. We'll see.
I'm going to somewhere else.
Well, there's
I think I want to make burgers tomorrow, to be truthful.
Those temp jobs, right? Manolis used to do those all the time.
Yeah? Like Kelly Services?
He would. I can't remember. He would go to like. Have you ever heard his McNabb grapes story?
No.
Oh God, it's so funny. I wouldn't be able to do it justice at all. But you'd have to ask him about it sometime. But he used to go to this like grape factory and stuff, and like it would just be like. He said he would show up and it would be him and like just like clearly like mostly like just guys there because it paid cash like that day. So he would see some guys like every time he went in, and like other guys would just show up. They get enough money to buy 2-4 and they leave. Like even if they would just work enough hours to get that much money, and they're like, "All right, that's a 2-4. Pay me, I'm out." Like there's jobs like that exist too.
Wow.
It's crazy,
yeah.
We would always like I grew up on a farm, right? So we would always want to get offshore laborers because the local guys weren't reliable.
Yeah.
And so they would say, no, you can't. You got to show a need, like a business need. And so you'd have to go through manpower, which was like unemployment or whatever. And they would send you like guys who were like chronic system like abusers, right? Yeah. And so they would come work for you, and they wanted to quit like as soon as they got there, right?
Yeah.
And so sometimes they would say, I can't quit anymore because they say that I'm not giving it a good enough try. So if you could fire me, that would be better. And that, or
so they could tell they're
and so we would have to go. We just keep having these guys in, having them quit or making us fire them, and then eventually you would go through enough of them, and then you say, listen, this obviously we've proven our point. Can we get like Jamaicans or Mexicans or something, like anyone but Canadians, because they're just awful. Yeah. And then they would give it to us. So that's how you have to do. And so I got to meet as a kid a lot of interesting fucking people. Yeah. One time, these two guys that were like one of those manpower guys, they came for the one day to work for us, and then when they were leaving, they found like a crow in a pine tree.
Okay.
Like a baby crow. And the guy shimmied up the whole fucking tree. You figure, like, if you could do that, you could do a job.
You could host some tobacco for a day.
Yeah. But this guy went up the tree and got this baby crow, and he says you could, like, slit their tongue or something, and then they could teach them to speak.
Like English?
Yeah. Yeah. You could teach a baby crow to speak English.
Did he do it?
Who knows, man? I never see that guy again. He was scary.
Wait, did he cut the crow's tongue, though?
He took the baby crow with him.
He took it with him?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
He sure did.
That's a good work day.
Yeah, the guy stole a crow out of a nest.
Yes.
It's crazy, man. That's really happened.
There used to be like a landscape.
I like how that's the crazy part. Not the fact that he went home, cut its tongue.
Well, I don't know if he did all
English.
that stuff. He said that's what he was going to do. He might have went home and ate it. I don't know.
I know. That's got to be. Have you looked into that at all, the crow?
No. I was just a kid, and that's a story he told me. He might have just been eating it. Yeah, I don't know what he did.
How do you get a crow to stick his tongue out?
I don't know.
No,
I don't know.
Why would you have to cut its tongue in half for it to learn English?
I don't know. Maybe because his tongue was too shitty the way it was normally made.
There was one that.
But I know a crow will recognize your face. If you like feed a crow or something, it'll start bringing you gifts, like little pieces of shiny garbage and stuff like that. Like it'll recognize if you're mean to a crow, it'll remember you if it sees you again.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they recognize faces. They have something.
Oh, I have heard that. Actually.
Yeah, crows recognize faces.
There was one in Waterford by where we went to school, a landscaping place that talked.
It said real words?
Yeah.
What did it say?
I don't know. I didn't talk to it. But
oh, really?
It did, honestly. There was a talking crow.
Did you have a problem with it, or like?
No.
You didn't like his politics?
I hated his politics. Fucking hate crows' politics.
Anyway, what's so racist about those crows and Dumbo?
I don't know.
I don't remember that.
I don't remember. The only crows I remember the two from Warner Brothers. They used to eat the corn real fast. The Bugs Bunny cartoons. Heckle and Jekyll, or.
Oh yeah, Heckle and Jekyll. Yeah, I remember them. But were they racist?
I don't think so. I don't remember them being racist.
Because this is, I think, the crows in Dumbo are black crows, right? Because that's what color crows are. And but they talk like old Southern, like an old Southern black guy.
Yeah.
And so I think it's seen as being racist because it's kind of like Al Jolson-y, like, you know, that old mammer, or like or maybe it's like that old like Amos and Andy, like guys, I don't know what you mean, massa, like that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's what it is. I think it's just kind of Southern-y. Like, it's not, like, meant to make them seem. And they're, like, there's no negative connotations to those crows.
Yeah.
Also, is Speedy Gonzales racist?
Is it racist in the way that, like the guy that voiced Apu in The Simpsons stopped?
Maybe.
Like, people got
if it's a
mad.
white guy.
Or, like, the guy that did Cleveland's voice. Didn't he end up...
Oh, he's white, too?
He's a white guy, and he. But I think he either like quit or they gave his job to someone else.
That's crazy. You know, there used to be a thing when you're doing voiceover work, they would reward you if you could do more accents. Like it was like you would like
more
show
accents
your
or more voices,
but they would want accents. They would say, "What nationalities can you do?" And they would put like Jamaican, Indian, you know, like Chinese,
now that
Japanese. Yeah. Now if you circle those, like you're immediately fired.
Yeah, they won't hire you.
Yeah. But that used to be like a kind of a skill set you work on.
Like and you'd think like voice acting that's what that is. If you can do an accent or even sound like a different nationality or something, then why not?
Yeah. Yeah, like if I can do a Tracy Morgan impression, can I do a Tracy Morgan impression? Because
I don't know.
It doesn't make sense. Like if let me think of another, like where's a black guy doing a white guy impression? There's
Dave Chappelle.
No, he does a generic white guy but like a specific white guy, you know, like if like Jay Farrow did Trump, for example, or something like that, you know, then that would be fine. I mean, I'm not offended by that. You know, like I don't think anyone's really offended by anything, you know. Yeah,
well, it's just like Bryan Cranston. What was that? The movie The Upside that he did with Kevin Hart. And Bryan Cranston's character is a quadriplegic, and people were getting mad because there's quadriplegic actors.
Like that Bill Burr.
Why is he playing? Yeah.
Why are you pretending their legs don't work when there's other actors? Because they're not as good as Bryan Cranston.
I saw a guy get murdered in a movie.
Oh, yeah. Bill Burr's thing.
And then he was in a different movie.
Yeah. There's real murder people out there.
Yeah. I think you should murder somebody for the movie.
Yeah.
There's no end to it. Yeah, it's crazy. I don't understand. I thought acting was the whole thing, you know, like you used to get an Oscar if you played a mentally handicapped person or a homosexual. Yeah, you're guaranteed an Oscar nomination at least. Yeah, for either one of those. Well, now canceled.
Like in Tropic Thunder, actually, they hit up multiple things because you had Robert Downey Jr. playing a black person.
Yeah, in blackface.
Yeah. And then that whole spiel about Ben Stiller's character, he's like, you never go full retard.
Yeah.
You went full retard. That's why you didn't win an Oscar.
Yeah, and then that movie's still, even though it, like, even those things mentioned, it's still fucking hilarious.
I know.
And it still holds up, you know? That's what last week I felt guilty because on the show I said dolphins were like retarded whales, and then I had to like right away say, oh, whatever, the word that doesn't make people angry, and then I'm like, what are you gonna do? Like take away my birthday? Like I canceled myself in life. Like I had things going for me. I ruined them on purpose.
Yeah.
You can't take it any more away from me. Like I already did it to myself.
Well, have you heard Louis' bit about retard or retarded?
What?
Just about how he's like that's I can't remember exactly what it is, but it's just something about how like they're not bothered by it, but also he's like that's what we've been calling them for decades. He's like, we can't just change that now and be like, oh, you're not a retard anymore. They're like, oh, did you come up with a cure? And he goes, oh, no. He's like, we didn't find a cure. We ain't even working on it. we just don't call you that anymore.
Yeah. It's funny, man. Also, a midget. Technically, a midget is a real thing. You know, and I agree that you shouldn't call dwarfs that because they're dwarfs, but a midget.
So midget and dwarfs are different.
Yeah, they're different.
Okay. And with little people?
Little people's just one of those made up words. It doesn't mean anything. A dwarf is a dwarf. You know, it has a stumpy little arms and a big egghead, right? And a midget is proportionally correct in every way. It's just a small little person, you know. Like
okay.
But they have.
What about jockeys? Where do they fit in?
They're more like midgets because they're proportionally correct, right? Whereas like
seem like little people,
like children.
Yeah, like I think a little person is more of a description for a midget than it is a dwarf. And most of the little people you see are actual dwarfs. You should be able to call them dwarf because that's what they are. That's a condition, but that's like retarded, which used to be a condition, but now it's offensive, you know. And that, but like a midget, they cured it because it was a pituitary gland issue, and then they just like gigantism, you know, like Andre the Giant or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, they can just fix that now. So your bones don't keep growing till you die. But same thing with the little people. They can fix it so that they do grow.
Oh,
and so now there's no more midgets anymore. But if you watch really old movies, like there was this really old movie, I think from like the late 40s called Freak Show.
Okay.
Oh, my God. It was one of the best things I've ever seen in my life because I love that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Like Freak Show stuff. Like it's fascinating to me. Like there's this guy. He honestly was just like... feet and a head or something. Like I don't
what?
Even,
like just like a
he just was like scurrying around. He's just like a head, you know,
with 2 feet, no arms or anything.
No arms, and he could light a cigarette. He rolled his own cigarette. He rolled the cigarette first, with his mouth, and then he licks it and he puts it on the thing, and then he like picks up the match with his mouth, and then strikes the match on the counter, just all with his head. And then lights a cigarette that's like draped over the counter, and then he like picks it up off the counter and starts puffing at it.
That's ingenuity, man. That's
Jesus! Do you think I never seen anything like it.
Sees him smoking, they're about to tell him smoking's not good for him. And they're like, "Hey, did you?" Never mind.
That could really, yeah.
You know, the smoking stuff.
It looks like it's too late.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was like this movie because it was so old. There was a whole bunch of freaks in it that they fixed with science and medicine.
Okay.
Like, so you can't see them anymore. Like, you know Beetlejuice from Howard Stern show?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There was a whole bunch of them.
Well, isn't that like the lithidomide or whatever?
Is it?
I thought it was something to do. Zika caused that, too.
I thought there was like a medicine for...
Is that like thalidomide? Thalidomide babies?
Yeah, like that. It was like the medicine to help cure morning sickness. And a bunch of
and it caused birth
pregnant women took it, and then like all their kids were born with like long limbs and missing fingers.
Yeah, there was a guy that came and speak in my work, and he had no arms.
Yeah,
and he was one of those. It was from that, and he had no arms ever. He wasn't born with arms, so he was just super flexible with his feet. He could like brush his teeth with his feet, and he drove a car with his feet, and he did all this shit with his feet, right?
Okay.
And but he never had arms, so like his legs like
do everything with his feet.
Yeah, his legs would bend like and move like our legs would never do, you know?
Crazy.
It was crazy, man. It was really cool, but also freak show-ish. You know,
Yeah.
like there's a fine line between inspiration and like
It's
you're
funny
gawking at him, you know?
Stern used to really expose that too, right?
Yeah.
Like with Beetlejuice, and then there was Gary the Conqueror, but
yeah, and they had Wendy the adult, slow adult,
yeah.
And they had the Bigfoot, I guess.
Oh yeah.
Is Beetlejuice still alive?
Yeah, I think
Is
so.
he?
I'll check.
He was actually really funny.
Yeah, I liked him a lot too.
Beetlejuice.
Yeah. I can't
What
believe
is the answer to? If the answer is 4, when you add 2 plus 2, yes or no? 7. He was a great guest.
Yeah.
That is he was really gross. He would shit his pants a lot. I remember.
He did.
Yeah, someone would have to be a handle, like he had a handler or whatever, and I would like always think that's the worst job ever. You have to follow that guy around,
Clean his
pants.
pants.
It's not like your kid or your parent or anything.
It's a grown man.
Just a grown man stranger you got to do that for. It's like, fuck no.
He's still alive.
He is?
Yep.
Well, how old is he?
He's born in 68.
Really?
Okay.
He's older than me.
He's like 53-ish.
Yeah. Why was? Can you look? Oh, I'm gonna see if I can look it up on this. If I look up that Freak Show movie, maybe I can find that guy with the.
Was it a movie or a show? You said.
It was a movie. It was a major motion picture.
Oh, okay. So he was an actor, but he was a real person. Like.
Yeah. It was all just like circus freaks that just did the movie. No, this is way too. I'm gonna say it's also old. Freak Show, old film. There we go. 1932. Oh, wow. Good, and they got pictures, so I'll be able to show you this guy. Freak Show. So there's one guy. Maybe I want to see the guy with no. There he is. You thought I was look at
what?
See, he's just like a head, and he's like a fucking hot dog or something, right? No arms or no legs or nothing, just like a hot dog in a sweater. And
I thought that was yarn beside him.
And then he'd light his own cigarette. See, that's like a. I swear to God, man, I never seen anything like that. And
hot dog.
I really did think that was yarn. That's his body.
That's his body, man.
He looks like at least middle aged. So. That's pretty impressive.
See, isn't that that's like a white Beetlejuice?
Yeah.
See?
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then this guy, it's just called Freaks. It's just called Freaks.
I think that would be a normal title for today.
It was awesome. So here in this picture, you can see the bearded lady. I wish I could show you there was an actual midget in that movie. Because you could see he was like proportionally correct in every way. But I can't find a picture of him here.
Wow.
Like this little guy. That's kind of what they look like those Little Rascals ones. Like, see how that guy, he just looks like a little man, like a baby.
Like Benjamin Button.
Yeah. Yeah, don't go near coffee. I know, I have a weird obsession with little people, and it's not right, but I can't help it. I had it when I was little. And I don't know, it was Wizard of Oz or wrestling or something that got me crazy about it.
We used to have one in our school, too.
Yeah, when I was in kindergarten, there was a girl in grade 8 that was a little person.
Are you, sexually attracted to them, you mean?
No, just, super fascinated.
Okay.
I can't avert my stare. I just I get excited when I spot one at the store or something. I get visually woo, lucky day, this is going to be a good day. And then and I know that's wrong, but it's something in me that just brings me there to that joy. Remember that girl that was a little person that ran the coat room at Marco's in Simcoe?
Yeah. And
then she would take your cover charge.
Yep.
And she was always grumpy.
I'd be very angry if you pointed that out to her.
What?
She was little?
Little.
She stood on a milk crate and took your thing, and then...
what do you mean? People would point it out? Hey, you're small.
I imagine there's drunk people.
Yeah, I've seen
really?
It. Yeah.
Oh, drunk? It was like a bar?
It was a bar, yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Idiots, yeah. So I imagine she'd have to put up with something, but she wasn't very pleasant. She wasn't making it easy for herself.
No.
But I heard they found her in the coat room there.
Oh, yeah?
What?
She died. Yeah.
In the coat room?
That's a legend. I don't know if it's true.
Does that place exist still?
No, they tore it right down to the ground, and then they're building up something else there now,
really?
I think low-income housing or something.
Oh. It was low-income housing upstairs, I thought.
Yeah, but it was full of asbestos and crabs from all the hookers, or the dancers.
The ballet dancers.
They had this game called. They had a strip club in the basement of that place called Gatsby's.
The Gash.
And
what town was this?
Simcoe.
Okay.
And when I was growing up, there's at one point in time, I think there was up to 3 strip clubs in Simcoe, which is unnecessary.
It seems like a lot.
Yeah, and now there's none. Yeah, Malibu, the Gatsby's, and I think they had strippers at the Phoenix Club at one point.
I thought the Melbourne might have had them down there too.
Oh, maybe the Melbourne too. Yeah, that's true too. But I don't know. But there was a time where there's lots of strippers, and now there's none. But the Gatsby's, I remember they had this Daytona USA game, and when Jane my wife would visit me when I went to university, we'd play this Daytona USA game at the one bar I went to a lot. And I said, hey, I know they got one in Simcoe. It's at the strip club, you know. You want to go play it in there? And she's like, all right, I'll go in, you know, like whatever. And she's like, she had never been in a strip club before or whatever. And she knew I had. Mm-hmm. And so we would go in there and we started to play the game. And I'm like, just don't look at the stage. Like, just like go in there, we'll play the game, we'll leave, you know. And she said she couldn't help herself. She looked at the stage. And there was a woman up there on stage, and her way of describing it is really funny because, like, I know what that place is all about, but to hear her describe her perception of it, she's like, it wasn't like a good-looking woman at all. It was just like someone's mom.
The C-section scar.
She honestly had a C-section scar. Like, not even kidding. She had a gut and a C-section scar on the gut.
Like a gun.
There was nothing attractive about the woman at all, you know. And I'm like, see, you had no reason to be like upset with me for going to strip clubs. Like, we're going
to play pool,
and it's for the spectacle of what you're going to see. Like, you're going to see like a train wreck, you know. You're going to see something that's noteworthy that you can talk about, you know. Mm-hmm. Like, one time my friend was a real quiet guy, but that night his timing was perfect. He was playing pool. And there's this girl on stage, and she was doing her third dance. You know, third dance is everything comes off. And she was rolling around on her blanket, and the music just cuts out, and you can hear my friend as the music cuts out. He goes, "Somebody tell that girl to tuck her asshole back in," and then and the whole place hears it. Eh? Oh man!
Did they start laughing?
Oh, the bar was all laughing. Yeah, the whole bar was laughing. The girl was just picking up her blanket and scurrying off.
Why'd you have a blanket?
Yeah, for third song, you lie on the ground and show your pussy. So
it's gross if you don't.
If you just
the same thing happens at other clubs, but they don't bring their own blanket.
They don't bring their own blanket.
Not that I've
No, I always think a third song is you lie down the tiger blanket.
Yeah,
a nice tiger blanket,
or a wolf.
Maybe a wolf. And then you roll around on that because otherwise you're just snail trailing.
Yeah.
Also, a sign of a classy girl is when she goes up before the first song really gets going and washes the pole first, you know, before she even touches that thing. That's a woman of class, you know. The girls that don't care and they're just like snail climbing up that thing.
Yeah.
Tyler told us years ago he was doing shows at like a rec center around here.
Oh, yeah?
I don't know exactly where it was.
Oh, probably
maybe
the Blue Line Room in Norwich.
Oh, maybe Norwich. That's it.
Yeah.
And then we didn't end up going, but I remember he told us about a strip club that was like
Nicky's Roadhouse.
Is that like in the middle of like a cornfield or something?
Yeah,
I'll pass by that tonight on my way home.
See, we never ended up going, but I have this image of it in my head, and I really want to see it. Because I don't particularly like going to strip clubs, but that one, I'm like, I need to see this.
Tell me what you think it is.
Okay, in my head, it looks nicer than it probably is.
It's not.
I picture like tiki lamps because it's like you go through this cornfield and then it's like this nice lit, like almost like a tree house strip club.
I would change that image in your mind to perhaps an old Esso station.
Yeah.
Maybe a mechanic's garage.
Yeah.
That got converted with a real live wood stove in the back.
Okay.
Yeah. It used to be like
there?
Patrick Swayze's Roadhouse.
Yeah,
right.
Like that was what it was. And when I was in high school, we would go there just to get chicken wings, and it was just a Roadhouse. It wasn't
not a strip club.
It wasn't a strip club then. But now. And now I don't know if it's a strip club either. I think it might be a whorehouse.
You will wipe your feet on your way out the door.
I don't know why. I remember him saying how awesome it was, or maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was just like it was the only. Maybe they stayed open past 2 or something.
It's wild.
Yeah,
I would say it's wild.
It's kind of an anything goes place.
And sometimes you go there and it's super fun. Like it is super fun sometimes. I don't know. It depends on the mix. But sometimes you go there and it would be very scary.
Yeah.
And then there's no question. Yeah.
I would think that the chicken fryer got replaced by a hot dog roller.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. That was always my dream was to take one, like at Gatsby's, they had one of those hot dog rollers. And I was like, who would buy a hot dog on a roller thing at a strip club, to eat that?
Week.
But I thought it would be a really fun thing to like go buy and use as a tip. You know how people lie,
a hot dog?
Yeah, you know how people lie on the stage with like a toonie in their mouth or whatever? Like you put a hot dog in your mouth? Yeah. I would think that would always was a joke that I think would be funny, but I'd never had the courage to try it. My brother said he would he used to my brother lived a life. Okay. I didn't live one, but my brother did.
Yeah.
And he said he used to live with a guy who dated a stripper.
Yeah.
And they would go to strip clubs a lot. And he would say he would like go get money from them. Like he would like take their like he would know them, right? So he would like get a $50 bill from them.
Yeah.
Then he would go up on stage when they're up there and then put the 50 in his mouth, and then they would like give him a real show.
Yeah.
And then he would like get up after that and then yell at the other people, and he'd be like, they're not slot machines, fellas, you gotta pay them, or something like that. He would be like that.
Yeah.
And it was all just to win them favors so they get more tips.
That's funny.
So he was kind of like their mark or whatever, that he would just
yeah they would think, everyone else would think he's just a random
some random guy paying money. And
that's funny.
Yeah, but he was just taking their money. He also tells a great story I wish I could tell you on air.
But it's illegal?
Well, I don't know if his wife's going to be happy about it. It's all before they were married, but it's still a hilarious story. But I'll tell you after.
Okay.
It's super funny. Anyways, we got to do one thing quickly. It's a segment. Kevin, are you ready?
Yep.
It's a segment that we call Feedback. We got feedback.
We got feedback.
Welcome to Feedback. We got feedback. Our program this week is brought to you, as always, by our friends at Amazon. If you go to our website, livefromthedutchhall.com, you click on our Amazon banner, you do your shopping. You know what? We get some money. The bald guy gets less. And then, he's got less money to build dick rockets or whatever he's building. We get to,
we'll build our own dick rocket.
I wish I knew that earlier.
Oh, yeah? Well, now you do. And then Patreon. Join our one Patreon supporter, our Queen Jen Husko.
Yep.
And you can, too, be a part of the Dutch Hall Royal family. Just go to patreon.com/Dutch Hall and give us a help there. There's also commercial options for businesses and whatever. If you guys want to support me in any way, I'll work out something for you. Just let me know. livefromthedutchhall@gmail.com. And I want to let you know, this is for the audience out there. I have been getting quite a bit of messages on Facebook, Instagram, and all that shit, and you're telling me the same thing. You guys have latched on to our goal to reunite the nocturnal emissions, and I am getting the message loud and clear from everyone that, yes, you prefer this program with the band, and you want me to get the band back together. But they all have lives, man. They, to be honest with you, it's Wes Hagens. I attempted to bring him in for today's show because he's my favorite. You know that. Whiskey Wes is my favorite, and he was scheduled to come in today, but he had to cancel last minute. But I'm attempting to bring them in. It is the goal, but it is not going to be easy, so you got to give me some time, and until that, leave me alone.
Name one of them.
Name one of them? I can name. I feel bad about naming them, but should I? Why?
Yeah,
Why would I do
because
it?
Because then it'll put the rest of them like, oh my god, he might say my name. I better not say it.
Well, I appreciate the advice.
Was I one of them?
Well, you think it though.
Yeah, I think it.
Everyone thinks it. We all know it.
We need them back.
I know, but it's hard. One of them one of them's sick himself. One of them's got babies that he doesn't want me to give COVID to. And one of them is one of them's wife was sick, and then there's a whole bunch of life stuff that happened, and then with quarantine and stuff, and it just got we just got away from it. So I mean, I think if things go back to normal, we might trickle in that, and otherwise we're building a band. And Kevin's learned how to play Lady of Spain.
Yep.
Right?
I'll play it every week.
What were you playing earlier?
Skater's Waltz.
Skater's Waltz. See, this guy's working on some chops over here. We're going to get that organ rocking in no time.
Nice.
So we're getting it together. And I gave you Badunka Funk the other week, so you should be happy about that.
Still stuck in my head.
But I do appreciate everyone's feedback. And
does that happen every time someone says feedback?
Give it to him.
I need permission.
Yeah. There.
I like how he wanted to, but he's looking at you.
Yeah, that's
I
it.
barely get
Trade
it right when I'm supposed to.
Because sometimes if he does it to a person I feel I don't respect, and they shouldn't have the power.
The authority to do that? Oh,
Yeah.
I see.
It should only be people that deserve it.
I like how he's done it once. You're like, don't ever do that again.
Don't do that for him. He doesn't deserve it. It's probably Joe or something. He abused his power.
Yeah.
And then I was like, fuck, Joe. You can't just, don't do it for Joe.
Hey,
I don't think I ever would.
Did him and
Dan Brennan?
Yeah. What happened with that?
I'll tell you.
Fighting to the death soon.
Dan Brennan was supposed to come in on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And then he said, I thought he meant tonight. And then I go, no, you're not allowed to come because I like Patrick better than you. And that's so he's coming next week. But Dan, this is how it worked, okay?
Yep.
Me and Joe had an organic, natural conversation where we were trashing Dan. And but that's normal, and everything we said, we'd say to his face.
Right.
It was just us making fun of Dan for mostly being unfuckable, I think, is where
That's where Joe went with it,
Yeah.
And then Dan had time to prepare his response, right? And then he did prepare his response, and it was mostly going after Joe's act and ability as a comic. And then but there was some, I think it was clear that Dan's feelings were hurt from the first one.
Right.
And then so then I was like, as the guy who thought of this as a wrestling bit that was going to just be for the entertainment of people, and it wasn't like anyone
personal.
Yeah, and then I was like, I think I'm making two of my buddies actually hate each other for
Right.
real, And then that wasn't what I wanted to do, so I felt bad right away, and then I kind of took the heat off of it. And then Dan wanted to come back in, and I thought, well, I'll get it going again when he comes in, seeing if I can at least go through that drama part of it. That why did you do you guys really hate each other or whatever? And then, so he says he'll talk about it on my show, but in real life, he doesn't want to have anything to do with the guy or whatever.
Okay.
And then, or talk about it at all. And I go, so I don't know. I feel kind of bad. I don't want to be real butthurt about it.
Yeah.
And there was, we weren't really we were just saying Dan was gross to look at.
You're just saying what everybody's thinking. That's all.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Have you seen Dan with a girl? Have you seen Dan with a girl?
I have not, but apparently he has 2 children.
Yeah, so he's done it before.
So he's had sex at least twice.
Yeah, I just can't picture him doing it.
I know. I try to all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard. Hey, you work with Dan.
Yeah, he works for me.
Yeah. It's weird.
I like Dan. I like Dan a lot.
I do too. Dan's always been good to me. Joe too. Joe's always been good to me. He's always been a good friend, and I can't complain about either of those guys. Have been very supportive of my show, and that's why I didn't want to see any real things happen to him.
Yeah. Well, I feel like Joe, I can see maybe if Dan's a little sensitive, but I don't think there's much you could say to Joe that'll actually offend him.
No, Joe's not mad.
Yeah. He used to he hits on everybody's wives, right? He hits on Lindsay all the time.
Yeah.
And I had to, I'm like, Joe, I figured out, because then I ran into him and his family at the food court at a mall.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there it is. Because I'd never met his family before. I'm like, now I know why you're so confident hitting on everybody else's wife. I'm like, because nobody wants to fuck yours.
Yeah.
This is part 3 of the wrestling wars coming up here.
Yeah.
This is great. The first time I ever heard a comic make a joke like that to Joe, I'd never heard anybody do anything like that before. And, man, did I laugh hard. Like, I never saw it coming, you know? Man. But, yeah, like, I never met his wife before. I've never met his wife.
You're lucky. No.
I know. I've never met his wife.
She's got to be a saint because she's still with him.
I know. That's the thing. And she's got to be. There's got to be something there. Anyways, yeah, he hits on my wife all the time, too. He's like unrelenting.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife seems to enjoy it. You know?
Yeah.
Actually, my wife laughs at his jokes. I've seen her laugh at his act, like at his actual. Like, that's what really hurts me, you know?
Yeah, she laughs at it. Yeah, you're like, go ahead, fuck him. Just please don't laugh at his jokes.
Yeah, I understand when he's, like, making you feel pretty, that's okay. But, like, when he's trying to make you laugh with the ass-eating stuff, like, that is... why are you laughing out loud at that? You're encouraging bad behavior at this point.
Yeah.
You have to stop.
That's so funny.
Yeah, yeah. That's some things that, you know, those are the things that really bug me. I think I see women laugh at his stuff more than men do. I think because it's like so outrageous that they don't.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's just the type of girl. I don't know. Joe's a mystery to me. That's why I think he is my friend, because I cannot get my head around him.
He did a guest spot at Levity like a few months ago. I cannot remember. I want to say, I think it was like Glenn Foster or somebody was the headliner. So like it was like, you know, not Joe's crowd.
Yeah.
And there was like a group full of I think they were all nurses or something, like the whole like 2 front rows. There was like 14 of them. They're all
which are the
nurses.
best laughers.
Yeah, and they were great. Like they were like, I think I was hosting that night, and like they were fun. They were like having, you know, you just had to know how to read them, I guess. And then Joe goes up. He only had to do 5 minutes. And just like, it was like the ass eating stuff and pissing in their wine or something. It just, as soon as he could tell they weren't into it, he just dug even further. And then he just was like, he's like, all right, well, you guys don't like me. Goodbye.
I honestly
and he left him like, it's amazing.
Did he expect something different?
I don't know.
That's the thing. I don't know if it's a Andy Kaufman thing, like where he's going for the negative reaction sometimes. Like he just knows this isn't going to be his crowd, so he goes the other way to try to get the bad reaction, or if he just doesn't know that it's going to go badly.
The worst part was there was one lady that was there that came up to him after and told him how great he was, and he fucking rubbed that in our faces like for the rest of the night. Did you see like that shit? She loved it.
I bet you all her friends just dared her to do it.
Who knows?
Yeah.
And I mean, like watching him. Like it was just as maybe just for comics, but it was just as entertaining watching.
Oh yeah,
that not go well.
Oh yeah, it's so
as
great.
It would have been if it had gone well, you know.
Oh, I agree 100%. I love going to watch Joe for that reason, because it could go either way, you know.
Yeah, and he doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah. But, man, I always hope it goes bad, because when it goes well, you have to hear about it forever, you know?
And of the tours he's booking.
Yeah, man, like, he tells you about every good set he's ever had, and it makes you know that he's had a good one. It's like, dude, like, you're not supposed to be that impressed by your good ones. You know?
Oh, he's funny. We always say that he's, like, one of the funniest comics off stage.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Moses always
so funny off stage.
Yeah. It is funny. I just tell him, like, when next time you do something funny, like, just remember it.
Yeah, like you could literally just be like in the lobby at Levity, and just like he's got a circle of comics around him, and he's making everybody laugh, and he's got all this energy, and they're like, "Oh, Joe, you're up." Okay, he just switches to like the grossest shit he can say.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I think it's one of those things you can't teach a guy who's not funny to be funny, you know? Like you can't. So he is funny, you know?
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. It's just like, I don't know. Like when you give advice and the answer back is like, I'm the realist, you know? I'm the realist. And this is what I do. I do it because other people don't have the balls to be doing what I'm doing, you know?
That is what he says.
I'm like, fuck. I mean, you know, like, or get better, you know? Like,
people can't handle me yet.
Yeah, they can't handle fuck off, man. Like, I don't want to hurt his feelings, but that's the truth, though.
You can't, though. I don't think it's possible to hurt Joe's feelings.
And And I'm not saying if we didn't think he was funny,
Yeah.
like if we thought he was just like a disaster,
Yeah, we wouldn't even
talk about him, you know.
Yeah, we haven't mentioned Crusader Anti once.
Poor Chris.
Love you, Chris. I think he's watching.
That's what's so fun, man.
The ball busting?
Oh yeah. Like to know that you can go at a person's like his child, his mother, his wife, everything he holds dear in life, you know.
And you'll have a pint together.
Yeah,
it's hilarious.
And you just watch. I have one friend that's not a comic. I don't know what he is, but he's one of the funniest people I know. But he's not a comic.
Yeah,
and he has the same thing. He does the same thing, like where he. Like he can appreciate. Like we make fun of. He's one of those. He's like the David Tell joke where he says, "Does anyone ever have a friend who you've made fun of so much you just want to thank him for all the good times you have?" You know? That's like my friend Adrian.
Yeah.
And he's so funny that like when we're all hacking on him, like we'll be like just relentlessly hacking on him, and then he'll appreciate the good joke. So like if the joke's good, and even if it's really mean and towards him, like he will laugh and enjoy it.
Right.
And then eventually, if we do like a string like of jokes, like let's just say we're doing a string of jokes about him being like a pig, you know, and then
Harry.
Yeah, he would eventually like hear so many of them, and then start to enjoy it, and then forget that they're about him.
He'll start adding on
and
to
then
it.
he's like tagging the jokes about himself, where he's like he's just like making jokes about how much of a pig he is.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's funny. And he's like, I don't want you guys to have all the fun.
Yeah, let me get some in there.
Yeah,
stuff you don't know about me.
That's what's the best about it, because he just appreciates the jokes so much, you know. And I think as a comics, we kind of like do it to our friends because like it helps us, you know. Like if my buddies are like hacking on me and they're like witty comics, you know, hopefully good at coming back, and I'm hitting them with stuff and they're hitting me back, that should make me tougher with hecklers and with, you know, with crowd work and stuff like that.
And it's just like you said, like it's 100% an endearing thing. Like it's you don't do it to people you don't care about or don't like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you do it to people
otherwise
that you love.
you're just being an asshole. But but there's been comics who don't understand that, like that don't do stand up anymore. I think that's part of it, was like they just couldn't handle the ball busting.
Yeah.
Like there's a few, I won't name them, but there was some people around, like when I started, they were around for the first few years, and then like they literally had to tell us like, I cannot, like you guys are driving me fucking nuts, I can't. Or they just like they would just snap on us because like they think we're being mean to them. But it's like, oh, I could never looked at it that way. I was just like, yeah, we just bust your balls all the time because we love you, you know.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's not even.
Can't.
Yeah, some people don't get it. They're too sensitive. I'm really sensitive in real life.
Yeah,
like about jokes, or like if you're making a joke about me, I'm not gonna get sensitive. But if you just say something and let me use my own internal narrative to read into it, to put my own crazy into it.
I'm like that too. Like
then
if you were like, hey, so-and-so said this about you, that would drive me fucking nuts.
Yeah,
for days.
But if I was just like making fun of you, like for like looking old or something like that, you wouldn't. Right?
Like if you just right now just went on a list, like because you're old, and you're bald, and
yeah. That's what we actually did right before the show with Moses and Joe the last time they were in. And it's like, we're like, why did Dan make fun of your act when he could have made fun of the fact that you're fat, the fact that you have a... And then Joe kept trying to like move on with another conversation, and every time we let him go like 3 words into it and then just add 3 more things about him.
That's so
such a good pile.
Oh, we just piled on. It was like me and Moses like back and forth. And none of it was on air. It would have been a perfect way to start the show, because like he was almost crying by the end because he lost. Like there's nowhere where he could go.
That's so funny.
That was the best. It makes me feel so good.
Yeah.
But you watch a guy, your buddies bomb, and it brings you pleasure, like you know, like more so than if they do well. Yeah, like I love it. I love watching them bomb.
That's the best. Like how and like even if you're bombing and you hear your comic friends laugh, and they're the only ones laughing, like that's a good feeling too. Like that.
Yeah. You're at least you get it what's going on.
Yeah.
Like because at first it would hurt you so bad. you couldn't put it in that kind of perspective, But then once you've been through it a few times, and then the mechanism, like, oh yeah, like when this happens to other people, and then they laugh at it. Like that's the thing.
Yeah.
If you go up and bomb, I'm gonna laugh because I know you're funny, right?
Yeah.
And so I know this isn't your fault. Like this is the crowd doesn't get you or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like you're just eating shit that you don't deserve to eat right now.
Yeah, well, there's nothing funnier than a comedian waiting for a laugh.
Yeah.
Like they do their punchline, and then they give it a second, and it doesn't come.
Yeah. And then their realization, like, oh, fuck. Yeah.
That's the funniest moment.
Oh, yeah. Moses used to always, remember at Cayley House and stuff, how he would do that sarcastic yell-out laugh when people were bombing, and he would just do like a walk by and go, ha ha.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, it was the worst because then like, oh, I am eating it,
Yeah. Manol also do that too. Manol also goes
like,
from the back of the room.
Yeah. But if a guy sucks, like legitimately, like, you never seen him do well, and then he's going up and bombing again, there's no pleasure.
No,
that's
no
awkward
laughing.
for everyone.
People are leaving.
Yeah, and the comics at the back hate it too because they're like, this guy's ruining comedy for everyone.
Eating up stage time.
Yeah.
Ruining the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it is almost a compliment too, where I'm bombing, but at least I have a bit of respect.
Yeah.
Because people are taking pleasure in my bomb.
Sure. Yeah.
Because if they were like just really looking at their feet right now, and, do you ever bomb and then like not look at anybody and just leave? Like you just leave the stage and then you just like no
leave
one
the
wants
venue.
Yeah, just go right.
No, but I don't like the like when like after a show, if you didn't do well and like someone else did and you're talking to them, but an audience member will walk by and they're like, oh my god, you were so funny, like to the person that did well, and then they notice you're there and they're like, oh, you were good too. Like I'd rather just don't do that.
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean? I don't want to take compliments when I know you didn't like it.
Oh,
or like now I have to pretend like, oh, thanks, and then like, and now you think I think that was good. Like it's just
that was the worst thing. That's the worst thing in the world is that when someone comes up to you. Well, it's the worst and the best because if someone comes up to you, then you fucking rub it into your friends because you're like, that's
yeah, exactly,
awesome.
Yeah.
But when they do it to your friend, you're like, oh fuck, like it's the worst.
Yeah.
But I heard Patrice O'Neill and Bill Burr used to play that game after a gigs they would do.
Yeah.
They would like the loser had to buy drinks or whatever. So whoever got it said to more they would keep track, right? So they would sit there at the exit.
Whoever got the most compliments, you mean?
Yeah.
Would get drinks bought for them by the other comic?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like they would sit there at the end of the show and just wait to see how many people came up to him and said, I liked you, you were my favorite, or you were great. And if they said you were good too, that didn't count. That was like a negative, I think. I think they got one taken off for that. Yeah. Which I thought was like a great game. I never like the concept of that game is fucking fun.
Yeah, that's funny.
But it's brutal. It's it's because that's human behavior at shows. Like you can set your watch to it. It's like people everywhere do the same things.
Yeah. Or my favorite is like when you host, if you do like a great job as a host, people go, you were funnier than, you should try stand up yourself. You were great. Like they don't understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know but so like, even if you're doing material and it killed and you were hosting, they just think they think you're even more brilliant because they think that's not stand up. You're just riffing. That's
hosting. Yeah. It's unbelievable. Yeah. It's perception, right? Like it's all perception. That's like if you could take a picture of yourself in like tight shirts against cars that aren't even yours and stuff like that. Create a whole persona for yourself.
Sure, yeah.
And it doesn't even have to be real. If people believe it's real, they'll think you're doing great.
Yeah, Eric Johnston.
Woohoo! I'm just kidding. The funniest thing I ever saw was when I was hosting, I think, and Eric Johnson was headlining on like an amateur night or something.
Yeah.
And no, he was just doing a set because after he finished his set, you played the or whatever.
Yeah.
Like the sad trombone. He killed too, like he did well, like everything, but he just sold it as being like a disappointing thing. Oh man, that's funny.
There's no one, speaking of busting balls, there's nobody's balls I love busting more than that guy.
Oh yeah, that's right. He seems like it would be fun to bust his balls.
Well, it actually got less fun because I think he stopped enjoying it.
Oh,
I don't know
really?
if he ever enjoyed it, but there was a bit more of like, now it seems personal now. I think what started to bother him was like, it was funny for a bit because I was just constantly ripping on him, and it was some of it was just stuff that like even he will admit that like, you know, maybe he was being too much about something, and like the reason other people liked it was because they would see it too. Like I'm kind of calling him on some shit.
Yeah.
But then I would just like rip him. Just every chance like he would post something, I would just rip on him, right? To the point where like people were recognizing me in Hamilton as the guy who makes fun of Eric. Like not even for being a comedian. They're like, oh, you're the guy on Eric's Facebook.
I remember Jason Rouse would always just put a pig every time he posted anything.
So, but then I think a lot of like newer comics were coming in. They didn't really know him, but would see the way I was treating him and just assume automatically this is how we treat Eric, right?
Right.
And then it just became like popular to not like Eric Johnston, and I think that really got to him and bothered him. So he doesn't like now. If I get a good chirp in, that's like even he'll go, all right, that was funny. He'll leave it. But most of the time now, if I say something, he'll just delete it and text me and be like, no. Okay.
Oh, that's too bad. Because I think that I can tell that it bugs him because when he does tell me stuff that he does, he apologizes. Like he kind of says, "I know." Like, you know what he says? Like,
sure.
I know I'm shameless self promoter. You know, like stuff like that. Like he's like kind of like being proactive at going at knowing what you're going to have a problem with before you do. You know?
Yeah.
But you don't do your social media shit for comics. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing, right? It's not for any of us. So if we have a problem with it, or if it's annoying to us or something, then it is what it is. But he clearly has people that
works
that
for
it's
him,
working.
right?
He's booking shows. People are showing up to his shows, and like, you know, he does a great job. I've had him headline a couple of times at Levity, and he fucking kills it. He gets people in there, and he's great. And so I get it. And honestly, like I've said this, I don't know how many times, like, if anyone from Hamilton or that area is going to make it, it'll probably be him because he's putting so much fucking effort into it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like nothing's going to happen if you're just sitting around getting booked on open mics every week. You know?
No, and you got to have a little bit of that like grotesque self-confidence. That you know what I mean? That's just like off-putting for people, but like it's kind of required to have that sort of image of yourself in order to achieve anything really great. You know, you got to kind of believe you're great. You know?
You can't not admire the work ethic there.
Yeah. But the methods and like promotion and stuff like that, that's kind of the gross part. But
well, it's the self. Like I picture him masturbating in front of a mirror a lot. But,
but that's what I mean. Like I don't know. Like I wouldn't do any of that stuff. I would. But I'm an old man and I have pride and. You know, like all those things, but I mean, I can't fault the guy because it's like a respect the kill kind of thing, you know. Like if you see there's this one comedian that I've done a few shows with in London, and he's like on the spectrum for sure. It's not Pat Tiffin, but it's a different guy. But he's on the spectrum, this guy, and he goes up and he does one of the weirdest acts I've ever seen in my life. A lot of it, I would say, has nothing to do with what I would call stand-up comedy. Like it's like, for me, what it would be hack in every way, except for the crowd fucking pops every time. Like it just works. Like it just works. Right. But it's got like it's bad music parody. There's like a whole bunch of like really hack stuff in it.
Is he like very like obviously on the spectrum?
He's very obviously not a normal dude. Yeah. Okay. He's very obviously there's something wrong with this guy. Like there's something off with this guy.
But it works for him.
It totally works.
Yeah.
He makes the crowd so uncomfortable at a certain point, but then lets them off the hook or whatever.
Sure,
I think that's what it is. But the crowd laughs. Like he gets a huge crowd reaction.
Yeah.
So I can't. All my things that I think in my head about comedy are wrong.
Yeah. Well, dude, there's like how many famous comedians? Like, not everybody likes everybody, right? So, like, there's a lot of famous comics that, like, I don't understand
like
why
Larry
they're
the
famous
guy.
or why people find them funny. Or, like,
Bill Engvall.
The puppet guy, Jeff Dunham.
There's so many like that. Like I do not. I've tried to like people even show. Oh, you got to see this, and they show me Jeff Dunham sketches, and like I don't get it. I don't think there's been one where I've laughed out loud at all.
Oh,
but people like it. I can't say it's not funny because obviously people find it funny. I don't. So like it's just that's the same for people, comics at any level, right?
You have to book them at your club though, at Levity Comedy Club in Hamilton, right? You sometimes
I would book Jeff Dunham in a heartbeat,
right,
if he wanted to do it.
Yeah, because he's gonna draw, right?
Yeah,
but that's the thing, like,
and I could,
he would work like, but like, who's the other guy? Oh, there's a guy from Woodstock. That's where you live, right? There's a guy from Woodstock. I went to go see his show. Sat with his mom.
Yeah,
you'd know who he is.
What do you mean? Is he famous?
Well, he's done Jokes for Laughs and stuff like that. He's a black guy. He's got space between his teeth. There's a Star Wars bit where he makes sound effects about Star Wars. And at the beginning, he came out with a thong on and did like a dance.
Oh, really?
And over top of his suit, you know, like there was a thong. It was really, really not like really hacky stuff.
Carrot Top-ish.
Yeah.
Like, and he's
but
done
Destroyed, probably, right?
He was just on like America Has Talent, but he was a Canadian guy.
Yeah.
Fuck, I wish I could remember his name.
I remember that.
But he's done like he's successful.
Yeah, yeah.
I went to watch him the one time in Woodstock, and Deborah Giovanni opened. Yeah. She was super funny. Yeah. And then this guy was a headliner, and like his act, I disagreed with every part of it, but the crowd ate it up. Yeah, I was like upset, you know, like because I was like like I want this to do badly, you know, like if this is what people want, this is what I do. Am I supposed to do this? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, there's that. And then, but isn't there, do you ever watch a comic that like you relate to or like, then they kill and you're like, it's more inspiring. Like, I want to get to that opposed to like, I got to be that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's what you forget about too, is that there is also the David Tells and people like that, the Norm Macdonalds and the people that I do respect and Mark Normans and those kind of comics. I'm like, yeah, they're killing it. You know, they're great.
Yeah.
You know? And they have integrity and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And those people that are doing that stuff, they like that stuff. And then the people who they're performing to that like that stuff, they've somehow found each other.
And I'm sure there is like, for sure, there's comics that just like, I don't know, that it just worked, so they do it, and maybe they fucking hate it, but it's a shtick and it pays the bills. And
that'd be the worst, don't you think?
That must exist.
Yeah, definitely.
Right?
A guy doing his same old act, he just hates it. He knows it, but he's just doing it because it's like
it took off, and they're like, fuck, now I got to be this guy forever.
Yeah. Now I got to do like Get It Done or whatever.
Yeah.
That'd be awful, man. But I also often think too about like, what if all your fans are just people you hate?
Well, exactly, right? Because I don't know if it was like Dice has said that, or I know like look at Jason Rouse, even like he's like people he told me, because he's like you spend like time with him off stage, he's like can be very normal, not crazy Jason Rouse that's on stage, right? Yeah. He's like this really nice guy actually, and he'll like, I remember he told me once, he was like, he's like, people come up to me and they're like, hey, fuck your mother's cunt. And he's like, well, why would you say that to me? like him as a person's like, no. Yeah. Like he can separate, but people don't, right? They see that and they're like, oh, that's who that guy is.
And that's who they're drawn to.
So like, as an example, like he was probably most annoyed by most of his fan base because they're probably like actually more like who he pretends to be on stage.
Yeah.
So
Doug Stanhope said he was at a show in Edmonton, and he went out to get a pack of cigarettes or something like that, and he was going back towards the arena, and he saw this crowd of people, and they looked so sketchy. He was like, oh, I gotta get away from them. He crossed to get away from them.
Those are his people.
They're all lined up to get in his show.
That's so funny.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm afraid of. I've had a few people from this show who have like seen me in public and started talking to me.
Yeah.
And they hear things that I say, and it's not what I say, like,
Sure.
they hear their own things that they want to hear through what I say.
Yeah.
Like, I did a show where I had a guy from Turkey, like, who's a Muslim guy, and I called it Meet a Muslim. And the idea was show a bunch of like rural hicks like me what a Muslim guy is.
Yeah.
Because they've never met one before.
Yeah.
And then they can
They'll
just
realize
know
there's
that
a
they're a
normal
real
person.
guy, right?
Yeah.
So the guy came down. He was a drywaller. We
Yeah.
had beers with us. We had talked about.
Sure.
Apparently, that when they died, they turned into a bear, and their women shaved their pubes, and we learned a bunch of things about Muslims, right?
Yeah.
But it was light and fluffy, and it was meant to humanize the. Anyways, I meet this dude. He's like, "Yeah, I listen to your show with that Muslim guy on. You're right. They all should go back to their own country."
Whoa.
And
Oh my God.
I'm like, how?
Yeah, how did you pull that?
Yeah, like, how did you get that from that? And you like, at a certain point, you can do whatever you want publicly, and once the public gets it and puts their own perception on it, you're just kind of at their mercy, you know? Like, if they want to like you, not like you, if they want to see evil in you or see good in you, if they want to, it's out of your control, really.
Yeah.
You just got to let them have it,
Like if someone sees me after this, they're like, I saw you on Dutch Hall.
Yeah.
Fuck midgets. Yeah. What?
What? Yeah. That'd be awesome, though, eh? Because you're like, you saw me? Someone, I've had, like, a lot of people say they heard me on that Friday at 420
Oh,
show.
really? Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, how did...
Surprisingly, a lot of people, more than we thought, actually listened to that show.
Yeah, it's weird, eh? Even with my podcast, I can't ever tell how many people are listening.
Yeah.
Because I got two different places that give me stats now.
Yeah.
And they're both different.
Yeah.
And
we were going by the Facebook Live because, well, the problem too is like we were recording them when we couldn't be in the studio anymore and then just airing them live on Fridays. But then it turned into, we were just like, we have more fun when we do it live. So we started doing them live, but on Tuesdays when we would normally record them. So it's Friday at 4:20, live on Tuesday at 5, whenever we feel like doing it, right? So it's very confusing. And then we go by those numbers. So like in my head, there's this one version of it where 4 people listen to it.
Yeah, yeah.
But then it has a whole other life when it's online. Like it's just posted and archived. So like, we have an audience that like just subscribes and listens to it. Then I forget that all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
So...
Yeah, and they end up being the ones like even now, like just had a person. I've had a person from Quebec and a couple of people from Ontario who just downloaded like 100 episodes each.
Yeah.
Because so you're like, oh, that helps me with my stats, because like they go through. Now this is 391, I think.
Holy
today's
shit.
episode.
Wow.
So we've been doing quite a bit of them.
That's awesome.
Yeah, over 8 years. Oh, we've kind of gone a while here, Pat.
Oh, whenever you want.
So we should kind of wrap it up.
Okay.
There's just one more thing I want to talk to you. One more thing, and then we'll do a joke to end it.
All right.
But I wanted to ask you briefly because I am a big Norm Macdonald fan, and I understand that you actually met Norm when he was doing Tom Green's show.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah, very briefly.
Was this the one where he was drinking Bud Lights and smoking a vape pen?
Which show? Are you talking about his talk show?
The Tom Green talk show?
Well, he did because he had like I'm pretty sure the first time I met him, he did his podcast. We were recording Tom's. It was like called Tom Green Radio.
Oh yeah.
But then he had the Access TV show where it was just like they were both sitting in couches like this at a studio with like a Los Angeles thing in the background. Is that what you're talking about? Because I know he's done a million things with Norm that I was not involved in, so I don't know.
Which one were you at though? Because
I was at the one with the studio one with the Access TV one.
Oh, okay, yeah. I remember that one. Okay,
yeah. But
and you were just you were in the room watching that. Did you get to see? And then Dice, he's friends with Dice too. Did you meet Dice?
Many times. We've when we would that like 3-week stint that we were in Vegas, so they're like very good friends.
Yeah.
We were at the same venue, and Dice's show was always right after Tom's. So Dice would watch our show, and then we would stay and watch Dice's show, and we'd all hang out after. And then Chris Angel would come every time. Like they're all good friends. It's Tom Green, Andrew Dice Clay, and Chris Angel.
Yeah.
And like for like weeks, every night after the show, I'd be hanging out with these guys, and it was fucking crazy.
That's wild, man.
Yeah.
It's just a wild life.
Dice is another guy who's kind of like the Rouse fan base thing, because he's another, like, he's just super nice and friendly off stage, not
real family man.
Like very respectful, and and that's, I've seen some of his fans. I saw like Dice, like he like at a meet and greet, like threw some dude like through the merch table because he like I don't know what he did wrong, but it didn't sit right with with Dice.
He is a real piece of work though. He is like eccentric.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there's no question. Because even just to come up with that act, you got to be a bit eccentric. But it's crazy, man. I still think some of the stuff that Dice does is brilliant. You know, like The Day the Laughter Died. Have you heard that album?
I honestly don't know if I did.
It's basically him bombing, like, for an entire album. It's remarkable that someone released an album of themselves bombing like that. Like, I've never heard of it.
Have you seen Mitch Hedberg's
I saw
it. Say MTV.
Yeah, I saw a special. The way that they put it out.
But in comparison to his usual stuff, but it's even worse than what aired.
Oh, the unedited one that I saw, it's most of the show is him going like, "Who? None of you people know who I am." Like he knew it wasn't his crowd.
Yeah.
And then so I think he got in his own head or something because he kept going like, "I don't even know. Like, you guys don't get this at all. Like, this is a waste of my time." Like
they kept some of that in the aired version.
Oh yeah.
Him saying stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like kind of painful. Like, and I think that's his only.
Well, that's the saddest part. Is like his only like fully recorded televised, because he's got like all those jokes that you see on there. They're either on his albums or like when he was doing talk show circuits, there'd be like little 4-minute chunks of those.
Yeah.
But like that was the only like all the jokes in one place at one time, and it's he's bombing.
Yeah,
it's so weird.
Yeah. I would be crazy to see. Yeah, I don't understand. Like, but that's one of those things. It was a company, or like it was like the network or whatever putting it on the show. They paper the room, like free tickets, and no one's going to see Mitch Hedberg, and he's a fresh act. Like, he sounds different. He's not like everyone else. So if you're going to see comedy and you have this like rhythm or vision of what comedy's supposed to sound like, this ain't gonna be it.
Yeah.
Like, and without his like cadence and rhythm, a lot of those things aren't really jokes, you know. Like,
if you just read them, like, these are bad.
Yeah, someone asked me if I wanted a banana. I said no, or if I wanted a frozen banana, and I said no, but I want a regular banana later, so yes. Is that a joke? I guess it's
probably. It
funny,
sounds like one. Yeah,
he says it. Yeah.
But when you slow it down, you know.
Yeah.
Or do it in his cadence. It's like it kills. Like, I don't understand it. You still see guys that are, especially new comics, where you'll see them and you can hear the Hedberg in them.
Oh yeah, there's a few that people do. Well, like when I started, at least in Canada, anyways, everyone was doing Rouse, like at first.
Oh really?
Yeah, myself included. I was like guilty of like Rouse-isms.
I was
very inspired. Like before I did stand up, I was a big fan of his too, and like I was watching a lot of it. And then like I met him really early on through Manolis, so I was like even more like just like looked up to him, right? And I caught myself just doing that, but then I noticed it was becoming a thing, or like it was already a thing. Just like new comics, especially in Toronto, Hamilton, like this area. Everyone trying to be super edgy, but like just sounded like him though. Like just copied like his mannerisms and the way he talked and stuff.
And I find there's a crop of like Dave Merhesh or whatever.
Yeah, well, then that started.
You see a lot of those guys that all sound like him.
Yeah, but in terms of like, there's like a lot of Hedbergs and a lot of I know like Will Ferrell didn't do stand up, but there was like.
Oh yeah,
you see a lot of like characters
Iron Man
that would do,
or like Anchorman,
or Zach Galifianakis type comics and stuff. Yeah, it's weird. I get it because like I get why, like, especially early on,
Yeah.
Like you kind of just emulate
who you think is
who
funny.
you like. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess at some point it's just you gotta.
Yeah. You
gotta
find your
stop.
own. Yeah. I never I get compared to comics sometimes like you sound. A lot of times people say you sound like Norm Macdonald to me.
Yeah, I think that too. But like your voice, you sound like Norm Macdonald.
Yeah, but I'm not like ripping his. I'm not trying to emulate any aspect of him. I'm just a rural Canadian guy who sounds like him. Like I really like.
Yeah.
There's another Toronto comic who's kind of more like a blown up version of Norm. Oh shit, I know the guy too. I met him. But he's still his own character, but it's kind of like it's definitely a derivative of Norm. Like
I think I know who you're talking about. I can't think of his name.
Yeah, he's a really odd looking dude, like long hair, curly and stuff. But it's very, I know the guy.
You're not talking about John Steinberg. He's like Stephen Wright. Have you seen him?
No, maybe I am talking about him because he's Stephen Wright, but he has also got a Normness to him.
But he talks like that.
Yeah. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is just Stephen Wright. Yeah, that is Stephen Wright. Yeah.
These jokes are the one joke John Steinberg that makes me laugh so hard. I think he talks about doing drugs or something. He's on mushrooms. He's like, I got to stop doing drugs. He's like, I was doing mushrooms and I woke up in a panic in the middle of the night. Thought I saw 2 dead children hanging from hooks in my closet. He's like, and then the sun was up and I sobered up and I realized it was just one dead kid hanging in front of a mirror. He sets it up better, but like you think he's gonna say it was like a sweater hanging on a coat hook. And then he goes, "What a relief!" But just like that delivery. He's another guy that's like, it's the way he says it that's so funny.
Yeah. That's what I think. Like it was like, but anyways, I'm after a while, you start to like. Well, like I think that if that is a thing that people are leaning on, after a while, I think you just forget it.
Yeah.
You understand how to do it. That it's not doing somebody else's shit.
But you just, I think I've always thought like your voice, you sound like Norm. Like not like I never thought like I watch you on stage and think you're like impersonating him.
No,
I just think like even in conversation, you just sound like him to me.
Oh yeah, well that's the thing. I don't hear it. I don't know where. I don't know why people say it. So but they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get it, but because I never thought. I don't even really watch a lot of Norm stand up. I only watched his like TV stuff.
I think like you sound enough like him that if you really tried to do an impression of him, you would probably nail it.
I could probably do it.
Yeah.
I know. I would hate to though, because then I would even get it even more.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's awesome. Thank you very much for coming in. I just wanted we want to end the show with something that's a little light. So everyone can support Patrick Coppolino. I know that Levity Comedy Club is going to be opening up on Wednesday, which is yesterday when this comes out, if you're listening on the audio show. But the good news is that the weekends now are open and there's headliners booked right up until March, is what Patrick says. So check out Levity Comedy Club on any of the social medias, or you can go to the Levity Comedy Club's website, which is
LevityComedyClub.com.
And check out who's coming to town. And you can also still check out Friday at 420. They're on Facebook.
Yeah, Tuesdays at random time.
It could be a Tuesday at a random time,
or Friday at 420 on Spotify, iTunes, all that stuff.
Yeah, and just check them out. You can follow them on all the socials. You're Patrick Coppolino.
Pat Coppolino.
Pat Coppolino. Yeah. So I just want to end with this. I ask my listeners to send me in stuff. And sometimes they send me in. My father-in-law actually sends me in jokes. Okay. And now most of the time they're street jokes. They're not great. Yeah. And sometimes they're just like facts. Okay. And this time they were facts. So what I do is I never read his jokes, but sometimes I take them. So I just got one fact and I wrote one joke.
Okay.
All right. This is a piece of trivia sent by my father-in-law. It says the origins of a shot of whiskey. Have you ever, you know where they get a shot of whiskey from?
A shot of whiskey? No.
Well, apparently in the Old West, a 45, I think that's is it millimeter? 45 millimeter cartridge.
Yeah.
For probably not, but that 45 cartridge for a 6-gun cost 12 cents, and so did a glass of whiskey. So if a cowhand was low on cash, he would often give the bartender a cartridge in exchange for the drink, and this became known as a shot of whiskey.
Oh.
Also from that period of time, you could also get a blowjob of gin, which was basically just 11 ounces of gin served with a glass of water to wash your mouth out with first.
No blowjob?
No, you give the blowjob for the gin. You
Oh.
see. That's how they got the name. That's how it became a blowjob of gin. If you have to explain it that much, it was a joke written by the robot, and I had nothing to do with it.
It's late.
All right, everybody. That's been our show for this week. Thank you very much for listening. If you'd like to tell a friend, give us some feedback at livefromthedutchhall@gmail.com, thedutchhall@gmail.com. We're also Instagram, Twitter, and all that stuff. Just the Dutch Hall or Dutch Hall. And until next week, we will see you, NT. See you next Thursday. Thank you, Patrick. Stop. And 2 hours. Fudge. And
Talk about getting heckled, like busting each other's balls.
Yeah.
How prepared you for hecklers. I always love that Kevin Hart story about Patrice just throwing a phone book up on the stage. And he just yells, "Read it! It's better than what you're saying up there."
That's awesome.
have you ever watched Dying Laughing? It's a documentary they have on YouTube. It's called Dying Laughing.
I think I've watched it.
It's like it's just a documentary on comedians. So they got they interview like everybody, and there's some really good analogies in there. Like Felipe Esparza, do you know him? I think his name's Felipe Esparza. He says this thing. He goes, bombing. He's a Mexican guy, right? So he's like, bombing's like going to a family picnic and being slapped in the face by your dad in front of like all your cousins, and then you have to go and eat at the picnic table sitting across from them with your face burning, trying to pretend nothing happened, you know? And you're just like, can you pass me the mashed potatoes? You know? And he goes, I'm like, that is such a fucking good description of what it feels like. You just all gotta pretend they didn't see it. There's such good ones like where they go through it like brutally honest what it's like to actually do it, and
What's it, Rogan's? Like it's like sucking 100 dicks in front of your mother. Something like that.
I don't know. I didn't see that. Yeah, I did one hell gig that I knew it was going to be bad when I did it, and it was as bad or worse. And then I became bulletproof. I was like, I can't go anything worse than that. Like I'm like, yeah. Like I got through that. So like, what else can you do to me? Like, there's nothing more. Like they wanted to kill me. Like there was a violent crowd. Like, yeah. It was a funeral. It was a fucking funeral.
What?
It was a celebration of life or whatever. Well, my dead friend wanted me to do, like, his mom said that because he like appreciated, he like stand up. He was a fan and stuff. He said, "You guys come up and do stand up," and it was all his bands he was in. They went up and did like awesome music, and then it was my turn. And they don't say like there's going to be comedy coming up. They go, "We're going to take an intermission after the music, and we're going to come back with karaoke." And then when it comes back, they go, "Ladies and gentlemen, Pete Van Dyk," and they don't say, "We're going to do some stand." They never said it was stand-up, so it was even
Going
worse.
into stand-up, and they're just like, "What is this?"
They're expecting karaoke, I guess. The one girl even came up to the stage and said, "Just tell me a song you like to sing, and I'll sing it with you." You know, like I'm like,
like you were like nervous rambling or something.
yeah. I was too afraid to do karaoke or something. I'm like, I was like, "Fuck off, lady," and then, oh yeah. Oh, like the guy who was running it fucking sabotaged us even more. We were already going to bomb, even if you set us up perfectly, because it was not the place for it. But, and my jokes were not appropriate either. Like, I knew my friend, and I was like, I know what he's, like, I know he doesn't like these people that are here. Like, I know that he thinks this whole thing, like, is most of the people that are here are just here to have a high school reunion and party, and they don't give a fuck about it, you know. So like I didn't give a fuck about them. So like I was kind of, as long as his mom was okay and his brother and stuff, you know, his dad, I don't give a shit about the rest of the people. Shazma went up after me, and Shazma ended his set with, "You're all a bunch of fucking cunts."
Did?
That's how he ends
You're
it.
all a bunch of fucking cunts.
You're all a bunch of fucking cunts.
Howdy.
And then when I was leaving, he goes, "Hey Pete, why are you leaving? Is it because everybody hates you here?"
Wait, he said that from the microphone?
No, he said it just when you saw me leaving. He was like, "Hey Pete, why are you leaving? Because everybody hates you here?" I'm like, "Yep." They did hate me. Well, I said bad jokes. I went and said, "This is the best Braden McKinnon funeral I've ever been to. That last one was a real drag. The best part about this one, no surprise corpse at the end." And then then I went and did a kind of an act out of that. It was a fake act. Like it was like I was taking him down, saying nice stuff about the family, and no wonder he was a good guy because his family and friends are so nice. Dear God, is that the human remains of my dear friend Braden? Like the crowd hated it the first time. Then the second time they hated it more. And then I did go into, I said I was from Delhi to begin, which this was in Norwich, and Norwich and Delhi hate each other. And so I knew just saying that I was going to be having some grief. And then I was like, "You're just mad because my Uncle Marius has beat up half of you guys in this room anyways." And then, which is actually true, because he played, he was like a brutal like hockey player, and he did beat up a lot of guys in Norwich. And then, so the crowd was like, I wasn't doing anything to make him like me. I was kind of like egging along. But they really, really hated it. So I'm never gonna. I felt like that was the most punk rock thing I've ever done. It felt punk rock because you really had to like my friends who were there and my brother and stuff. They were like, I don't know what, like that's crazy. They said, "You got balls, and I don't even want to be associated with you right now." It's like that's what they said. It says like, okay. They hate it. What the fuck is this, dude? Is this us right now? I hit stop on this cock. I don't know how many things you got to hit stop on.
That's been streaming the whole time.
Is this us right now? Because I got it. Oh, is it? Well, I got no headphones on, so it's after the show.
And I don't think I've been sitting like that.
This is before the show. It says right here, return.
Oh, yeah, no, that's happened.
Yeah.
It's not far behind.
Well, how the hell is it still going? I don't know. Like I go into fucking Facebook and it says stop live feed, and I hit stop live feed and it stops. I did. No. It's done now. I had to hit stop here now, so it's got to be